welcome back everybody to another episode of Banter on the Rocks. Today is Monday, December 29th, and it's our final show of 2025. So we appreciate everybody spending part of their holiday season rocking with us, watching Banter on the Rocks. If you're new here, welcome to the show. And if you've been with us week after week, thank you for your continued support. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss a weekly drop. So on today's episode, we're diving into our latest banter takes. We're going to be talking NFL scores, headlines heading into the final week and the playoff picture with just 1 week left. And then we're going to look back to some of our comments of 2025 and either clap back at him or admit that we were wrong. And then we'll have a little New Year's resolution talk. There's the New Year's coming up this week, and there's always resolutions, goals you have set for the year. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And as always, we're just bringing you real talk, honest reactions, and plenty of banter along the way. So we'll get into it. And as we do every single week, we're kicking things off with our banter drink of the week. So this is what we're sipping on, why we chose it, and how it's fueling us for today's show. And today, it's I think everybody had a busy week, and in Cali, or SoCal at least, it was heavy rain, so it wasn't much traveling. So I'm sticking with my tequila and Te Salud because didn't went out a bit, but man, if you're out here in SoCal between Ventura and LA, it was flooding everywhere from Wednesday up to what almost Friday night.
Pretty much, yeah. NorCal, much of the same as well. Yeah, craziness all the way around. Saw a lot of
Mhm.
footage across the state,
Uh,
from downed trees to flooded freeways. You name it, we all had it.
yeah,
Crazy, crazy, crazy weather. Um, but hey, yeah, nice little break before the next storm, I suppose, that
yeah,
we're supposed to be getting here in a couple days.
yeah,
And I'm getting through it with some Made West.
yeah.
Always comes in clutch. Love it whenever we get to visit. So yep, Made West. Going with the hazy IPA is always tradition. Um, and it hits every time.
It
Love it.
does. It does. Good. All right. So we'll go into just our first segment, as always, with Banter on the Rocks. It's our banter takes. These are the hottest takes of the week. So we don't prep each other for these takes. We don't compare notes, and we definitely don't pull punches. Everything you're about to hear is fresh off our dome, real-time reactions only. So we're gonna get into it. Tim's gonna send me his takes. I'm gonna send him takes for him to read off and respond to. And like we mentioned, we don't know what these takes are um, at all. So my first take, the end of FaZe Clan is a sign to stick to streaming collaborations, but not to contractual teams. Yeah, it's I saw a lot of people talking about the FaZe Clan leaving. I saw them all posting that they're leaving. And I think having these big teams of streaming, it's getting a little harder. I think everybody has their own goals, their own mindset, and it's sort of gonna be like one for all. Because I think like Kai as well, he always had his little crew. I forget. I'm trying to remember what that crew name was. Um, but with not with
Streamer
Neon.
University for a bit,
Well, Streamer
but I don't know what it
University.
was before that.
But the one with like all like with Duke, his little, he had that like house, with all the other streamers in it, and it seems like that was great for a few years, and I think FaZe Clan started it by having that house, the gaming house with all their members, and then other people are started doing it, but I see everybody going away from it. Everybody's doing their own individual thing because it's just a smarter move. Um, Collaborate, join each other, but not really stick to teams, trying to work together all the time because everybody's unique, everybody has their own content. And I think it's about time that, these people just stick to streaming and collaborating, but not being in a house, relying on one another and, these teams of people to do things for you.
For sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I feel like the team in that, like they'd all rent a house, buy a house, and then
Mhm.
live in a room, and kind of go inside, create content throughout. It's a cool concept, but I feel like it's an old concept at this
Yeah.
point. And I think it's gotten to a point where I think, if I understand correctly regarding the situation, I want to say it was the owner of maybe FanDuel,
Hmm.
or a major betting website, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not FanDuel, it's another one. And the owner of that, I guess, bought out FaZe Clan from, I believe it was FaZe Banks who
Hmm.
had ownership of it, and I guess there was some type of contractual percentage that they were supposed to be taking out. Yeah, I guess there
Hmm.
was a contract that they were supposed to sign. They didn't sign it. And when they came back around to ask them to sign it, is when everything kind of hit the fan.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of part of the deal.
Mm.
But I honestly, everybody who left the FaZe clan, I feel like, quite frankly, got the most out of it.
Yeah.
And at this point, each and every single one of them can go drive their own business, have their own, accounts on
Hmm.
Twitch or YouTube, whatever it might be, and just make, a plentiful living the way that they have
Yeah.
been. They've created, a good enough following, and that's what was great, I guess, about FaZe Clan itself. It started off, focused on gaming,
Hmm.
and really turned into a lot more than just that. But now, I feel like if you just have simple collaborations, you team up on a game with somebody, for example, like Sketch or
Hmm.
Queso, sometimes they even play together. Jinxie's
Yeah.
another one. If they team up and play together, play a game one night, or, go out on a trip somewhere, I feel like those are pretty cool, and it's good content, honestly. But when it's circulated around a household and you're trying this and that and the other, it's kind of a hot mess after a while.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's kind of the point it got to. I feel like it's at a good stopping point. But honestly, throughout all this, I wouldn't doubt if there's maybe a chance that they just start a house of their own and call it something else. I could definitely see that happening too. But at this point, honestly, I feel like it's a good time to stop, even if they are rooming together in some house. That's cool, good for them. But don't make anything contractual, binding. I feel like they
Hmm.
really don't need it. It's not necessary. They could do perfectly fine on their own.
Yeah, I think they all can, and I think you made a great point that, when you get started, something like this could be very helpful to get a following, to get that support. You mentioned Streamer University. It's sort of Streamer University was sort of the take of what a game, like a house like this, and having the team aspect sort of help all these non smaller streamers sort of get that limelight, collaborate with those like Kai Cenat, Jinxie, whoever, everybody that was there that was big name, because there were a lot of big names and a lot of small name people. But yeah, I think it's a good idea. You look at of a lot of these houses, they were fun to watch for a bit, but then eventually it just, for me at least, and like I said, people are gonna say that it's just you're old, you're too old to really know everything, but it's like it just got a little stale, They still it kept on being the same type of video, and eventually it needed to change up. And I think a lot of these streamers, I give them a lot of props because they're millionaires. And, if I was that smart when I was that age and could have done it, we would have been pioneers at our age. Um, but, kudos to them. And I think they're all going to be successful because they all have a great following. They all have great content, unique content. And I think they're going to strive wherever they are. And if they decide to make a house, we'll see how long it lasts, because I think that's the big thing now, contractual terms, how long you
Mhm.
sign that contract for, what the percentage of your, what the revenue you bring through, views on Twitch, views on YouTube, and then sponsorship. It's like, if you're having to give up 20-25% because you're under a contract, well, if I could do this on my own, I keep a majority of it. It's a lot better, negotiations, because sometimes one person brings more than another. And, you're gonna sort of be like, dang, I'm doing 90% of the work, but these other people are getting are getting a lot of profit because of me, and I'm not getting extra, So people are gonna resent some people at times for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It kind of turns into something like the music industry, for
Hmm.
example. You have these contracts that, for example, like Taylor Swift, she has to
Yeah.
go and like recreate songs or, redo albums in
Hmm.
order to make them her own, or even try to buy out the rights to it.
Yeah.
It's very common for, that to occur.
Hmm.
And it's just, I feel like streaming can be seen the exact same way. It's like all your
Hmm.
content's released, but it's released under the umbrella of so and so company, and then it's not yours, and
Hmm.
you're giving up 20, 30, 40% sometimes, I'm sure. And you have to really weigh it out and see if it's good. But I guess they did made well out.
Hmm.
I guess the first year or so without signing anything, and
Hmm.
didn't have to give up a percentage of it until they came back and said, "Hey, you aren't paying your
Hmm.
percentage. What's up with that?" And
Yeah.
it's funny how it happens at the end of the year. I don't know if it's an oversight or something, and they just barely realize when
Yeah.
they're heading into tax season. They're like, uh,
Yeah. Where's our
where's our
money?
cut? Yeah, we have a lot of overhead for that place.
Yeah.
Where's our income? So who knows what it was, but obviously they all left. Um, Kind of made its rounds, kind of different explanations I saw. But yeah, at this point in time, it's like, dude, you guys are better off on your own.
Hmm.
And you brought up a great point too. Man, I wish we would have started this podcast 10 years ago and
Yeah.
kept at it, because I feel like we could have been ahead of the game even. But,
Hmm.
regardless, we're doing it now. And, again, the freedom of going off doing it on your own, that's the key word, freedom. And I
Hmm.
feel like you'll have a lot more of it without, being under a I guess an overhead contract.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what FaZe Clan was always about at first, is the freedom to do what they wanted to do, post the content that they wanted to do. And I think for all these streamers, it's like, they're their own boss because they can post whatever they want. If you go under a platform or a company that's sort of funding a lot of your stuff, and you have to give them a percentage, of your income of sponsorship, they're also going to be able to control a little bit of what you do put out, because like I say, you have to remember you're putting out towards their name. So could it be good
Hmm.
for some of these smaller streamers trying to make it big and get that, support? Possibly, but the big thing is read your contracts, get a lawyer, because you want to make sure you're not going to lose any of your content after your contract expires if you decide not to renew with them, based on how it goes, because that's the big thing, if you develop it, become a big household name, and then you leave, FanDuel, and they're like, yeah, you're not, you could go, but all your content, all your channel, all that's ours. You're gonna have to start from
Hmm.
scratch, and it's a tough battle.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And then I don't know. I don't even know if they can go back on if they didn't sign anything, but just imagine if they try to go back and being like, yeah, this video got a lot of views. Let's
Yeah,
check your earnings from that one, or
yeah,
whatever. But again, they didn't sign anything from what it
yeah,
sounds like, and they're probably fine, just leaving it at that. Um, Yeah, definitely the end of an era with
yeah.
FaZe altogether. Um, some people I was saying, people are saying FaZe ended 10 years ago, whatever. It
Hmm.
seemed like they really drove away from the gaming content,
Hmm.
and we're just kind of freelancing streams, kind of had more
Yeah,
Kai Cenat type
yeah.
scenarios.
The
But
vlog,
yeah,
the
that was strictly
vlogging and stuff.
exactly. Being
Yeah.
in LA, obviously, that's something that's always active. But yeah,
Yeah.
didn't really seem like much gaming came out of there, even though that's how it
Hmm.
started.
Yeah, yeah, I think they got away from that. I think they still did a lot of gaming, but it wasn't what they were doing beforehand. I think one
Hmm.
question for you, do you think anybody could recreate what FaZe Clan was at the beginning nowadays?
Um, In a weird way, no. In the reason is because A, it's already been done before, and we
Hmm.
see like what path it took, and where it went. And also the state of gaming isn't really optimal at the moment, in my opinion. I feel like this is kind of a lull. I know Battlefield's been great.
Hmm.
Um, Call of Duty is in shambles, and I think that's a big issue. Um, I don't really play Counter-Strike, but I don't hear much from it. I know Rainbow Six Siege is a pretty big deal, but I don't know, the background of that one too much either
Hmm.
at this moment. I feel like a lot of it might be driven towards like role-playing games, or games where you're playing solo and then people are just watching you game and it's not really collaborative.
Yeah.
Um, I know that, for example, I and this is why I don't think the group thing works anymore. And I think that collaborations are better. I don't know if you've seen his content, but I forget his exact name, but he's the peanut guy, and
Uh,
he has his
the
face as a
the
peanut. He's
the
pretty funny.
burnt peanut or something,
Burnt
or
peanut. There you
roasted
go.
peanut. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And he'll collaborate with like Nick Merckx or
Hmm.
Tim the Tatman, and I think it's hilarious. But see, that's more of like that collaborative
Hmm.
type of environment versus like, you're gaming in one room and you have somebody in
Yeah.
the next. And I feel like that works much better. I
Mhm.
honestly, I think that's where it's at. Could it be recreated? Probably, but I don't think you're gonna find it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna last.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be hard. I think it's possible depending on what type of multiplayer gaming comes out in the future. Call or not Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto could be one that could bring a house
Yeah.
like that around. But like I say, you have to do it right, and I also think like the
Mhm.
solo gaming, even when you're doing like multiplayer, like anything, but you're just by yourself and just bringing people on. I think that's what some people enjoy is just watching some people have fun, be normal game players, joking around, conversating with the people watching them, and it's just a unique interaction, and makes it seem real life too. So. Um, I
Mhm.
think it'll be hard. I think it's possible. I think the next time we may see it, it will be Grand Theft Auto, unless Call of Duty comes up with something new. And like I say, Fortnite's still a popular one, but I don't think it is what it was beforehand. Um, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I guess it would just, take a strong game to kind of get everybody back together.
Yeah,
I guess one house I would tune into, just final statement for me, Queso, Sketch, I don't know, throw Jinxie in there, get a couple others. Um, they're good content. They're
yeah,
funny, in my
yeah,
opinion. Don't think they'll do it, but that would be funny. Even if they just
yeah,
did a vacation rental,
yeah.
I'd be down. Be funny.
Just like a 24 or 48-hour stream, that they do in a house,
Yeah,
rent an Airbnb that allows it, something like that, you know.
perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with these FaZe clan members. Like I say, I think a lot of them will end up okay. A lot of them, like I say, hopefully they were making financially smart decisions to just be financially well off with what I've heard earnings are. But like I say, we'll see if they come up with like FaZe Clan 2.0, call it something else, Blaze Clan,
There you go.
you know.
Just blaze it up all day.
Just blaze it up all day. All right. I'm gonna send you this take. I had quite a few, but I'm like, all right, let's see how we go.
All right, got my take here. Travis Kelce lost a little credibility with me when he said the best tacos are in KC, and calling them street meat is straight disrespectful. Meanwhile, his brother actually earned points with Hispanic culture by saying what everyone knows: real tacos come from taco trucks. One brother talked himself out of respect the other one talked his way into it. Yes, super valid. And we talked a little bit about this last week where,
Hmm.
on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, they discussed tacos, and Travis, of course, is going to represent all things Kansas City, but this is just one category. You can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
say you have the best barbecue. I think that's a more valid statement. But
Hmm.
going to tacos, now I haven't been in Kansas City for the taco scene, but spent plenty of years in Los Angeles, where in California altogether, where it's very easy to know where the best tacos come from, at least in the States. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And, you know, um, Jason Kelsey is a big advocate for LA tacos, especially taco trucks. And it's just something that Travis just seemed to be like, taco truck, like, what are you talking about? And as the take says, street meat, it's like, dude, like, it's not roadkill. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you're not picking up a damn squirrel off the road and grilling it and calling it a day. Like, that's just ridiculous. And clearly he's a complete amateur when it comes to tacos. And
Yeah.
you can hit up plenty of different taco trucks in the state of California, LA in particular, and just think that they're phenomenal. and they'll cost a few bucks. Prices have gone up a little bit, I'm sure, but like,
Uh,
you're getting like traditional tacos,
yeah.
not something that's, from what I think Travis likes, a hard shell taco, which is just despicable. You might as well eat that at either Taco Bell or ground some beef in a pot and put a packet of seasoning on it, like a literal packet of seasoning, and put that on it and then put it on hard shell taco with cheese. Like that's just not how it freaking works. Honestly, a taco, in my opinion, shouldn't really have cheese on it. Like
Yeah.
it's just, you go your meat, you go onion, cilantro, lime, and salsas, you name it. And that's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, but like even ground beef, it's like, dude, that's not it's not a taco. And I just I know for a fact that's what Travis means by tacos. Like
Yeah.
it's very evident. He likes hard shell, doesn't go for soft tortillas, but Jason honestly knows the game. Arguably maybe the better KELCE brother at this point in time.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Shout out Travis. We
Yeah.
love Taylor Swift. But it's just don't like you on the Chiefs. Hope you retire, and then we can be,
Yeah.
more friendly. Um, but yeah, altogether, yeah, Jason wins over that tune. Travis falls behind. Shout out Jason. Great work. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he knows what he's talking about. I get that Travis Kelce's can bump up Kansas City, but like I said, I just looked up Kansas City, Missouri, where the Chiefs are currently playing. There's only 12.3% Hispanic Latino. That's already such a low
Mm,
number that I can't trust the tacos from there. Might there be some good
yep.
spots? I think there could be, but the one Travis Kelsey mentioned with the hard shell, like you mentioned, if I want hard shell tacos, I'm just gonna go to Taco Bell. I'm gonna save myself some money because it's probably cheaper and just as good as those
Yeah.
tacos. I will say there are a few unique places that could make hard shell tacos, but like I say, but they're made out of like the original corn tortillas, handmade tortillas and stuff, and the right meat. Um,
Hmm.
but like I say, the one thing that sort of just threw me off, and I was like, man, you sort of hurt your reputation a bit, is calling it street meat. When he said, it's street
Mm.
meat, it's like, no, man, that's exactly where it comes. It's not street meat. They're not cooking it right on the sidewalk right there. Maybe in Arizona, somewhere in Texas where it's like 110 degrees, you can. But it's like it's a taco truck, It has everything any restaurant does, and like I say, it's just legit. So, him saying that, unfortunate, because credibility, it appreciate him, fan of Taylor, fan of his when he's not on the Chiefs. But that guy should stick to steakhouses and not start talking about tacos.
Yeah, honestly, this might even low key hurt his credibility at a steakhouse.
Hmm.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. Two different categories, sure. But, let's just say that they want to offer a steak taco,
Yeah.
or I don't know, an appetizer that's a seafood taco. You
Yeah.
know, are we just gonna get like an Ortega taco from like a traditional like Vaughn's,
The
and
bots.
it'd be, throw some shrimp on there and be like, what the hell is this? Like that's honestly where his credibility is right now as
Hmm.
far as the taco game goes, because it's downright terrible.
Yeah.
And you're right, you bring up a good point about like you can do a hard shell taco, but it has to be like you said, like handmade tortillas,
Hmm.
folded properly, fried
Yeah.
correctly, and then it can be really good. Because if I remember, they closed down, but there was a really good like taco place on Thousand Oaks Boulevard in particular.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember this place. It's like right there, kind of like midway down Thousand Oaks
Yeah.
Boulevard,
But
off of
by like
Herbs.
like in front of the 7-Eleven that was there, like that
Yes,
in
yes,
where
yes,
the
yes,
new
yes, yes.
developed shopping center. Yeah. I forget what it was called. I think Fidel's one of his family members worked there, and we'd always get the chips there. He'd always get chips from
Yeah, yeah.
that place.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
the chips were great. And I remember they made hard shell tacos, but it
Hmm.
tasted a little bit better because you could tell they just made them on the spot.
Yeah.
And I thought that, that was great. And I think they changed ownerships and, food kind of slipped a little bit and
Yeah.
then they eventually went out of business. But that's where I feel like it's passable.
Hmm.
Tostadas are another thing. Like that's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. You have ceviche or a sope, that's great. But again, you're making it from scratch. Tostadas, you put it
Hmm.
can be pre-made. That's
Yeah.
fine. But it's not a hard shell taco.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just Travis. Honestly, this is a huge stay in your lane moment, dude. Like,
Yeah.
just that's not a battle.
Yeah.
Talk cheeseburgers. Get Andy
Yeah.
Reid on. Talk cheeseburgers.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
they've already done it, but
Talk
I
buffets.
that's more of a talk buffets. That's great. Talk what is it? What's Cincinnati's chili? They have a Skyline chili.
Oh yeah.
Skyline chili is very popular
Hmm.
there. I guess people from there live and breathe by it. People not
Yeah.
from there are just like, what the hell is this? And I I don't know. I'd love to try it. Maybe we'll do a tour one day, John, on the show,
Yeah.
and we can try Skyline Chili one day. But I've heard mixed reviews.
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm an okay fan with chili. It depends. Um, but
Hmm.
yeah, he needs to stay in his lane. It's funny when you were mentioning Ortega's, I was thinking like, I wonder if this one place has like the tacos that when they made like the taco. I don't know if it's Taco Bell like at the stores, but it was like the flat bottom tacos. I'm like, I can only imagine it's those tacos right there, and I'm just like, man, that is
Yeah.
insane if that's what he has. And like I said, yeah, if he decides to do tacos in a steakhouse, it's gonna be a tough one because, like I said, people are gonna be talking, and if it doesn't come out well, it's not authentic. Like it's not gonna go well for him. And that steakhouse, it's already a very expensive steakhouse. Like not many people could probably go eat there if you're not making that type of money. Because I saw something right now. It's about you got to be ready to spend about $200 a person, which it's getting into a little bit above Mastro's level, so but
Damn.
yeah, it's crazy that he says, you know, Casey has the best tacos, and that's sort of that Casey mindset in the fans, Kansas City Chief mindset where they think they're the best and don't really admit that they're wrong or that they're not that great when they're not that great, and living with that lie and dying with that lie because, like I say, these Kansas City Chiefs fans were saying that they were still going to make the playoffs 2 weeks ago when we were calling it all season that they were out. It's that delusionalness that they're just not ready to accept, and it's just like just be honest with yourself. It's not going to hurt your reputation, oh, pun right there, reputation. But
Yeah, there you go. Very good.
but it's like it's the truth. California, Texas probably has the best tacos. You know,
Hmm.
you can't beat around it. If your city doesn't have a taco truck at all, you can't even be in the top 10 of consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and clearly Travis doesn't even know what the concept of a taco truck is.
Yeah.
Because like clearly they don't have it in Kansas City.
I
Like that's
they,
just and then I
they
guess
might
we could probably rule out Cincinnati.
yeah, they may not even have like food trucks at all if he doesn't know what didn't know what a taco truck was because it's like how do you not know that?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, he seemed totally new to it and he's like, well, "What a truck?" Like, come
Yeah.
on, dude. Like there's no way he hasn't been to LA enough, especially with Taylor.
Yeah.
Does Taylor Swift lose a little credibility with this too? Like, I know, I think she's a baker from what I've heard.
Hmm.
I heard she's really good at baking and she'll
Yeah.
give, baked goods to friends, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Maybe that's more of Travis's lane at this point. Maybe that's why he's
Maybe.
playing a little bit worse is, he's eating too many baked goods and,
Maybe a lot of cookies,
likes the cookies.
brownies.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Donuts,
yeah.
because donuts is relevant to their playoff chances this year. So
It is. But
big old zero.
yeah, but yeah, just that take, credibility. Kudos to Jason Kelsey. He knows his tacos, he could have said Philly. I would have believed Philly more than Kansas City, but Jason Kelsey was honest and truthful of exactly where the best tacos are. So, shout out to him. Like I say, within this Hispanic community, Jason Kelsey got some credibility. I think a lot of people are going to respect him. Travis Kelsey lost a little bit, and like I said, especially using the word street meat, it's a bit of an insult to the Hispanic culture and community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Stay in your lane, Travis. You know better. Um, but yeah, LA rules for
Yeah.
tacos.
Yeah. So, my next take, when it comes to sports and pop culture, audience trusts creators more than critics. Yeah, I think we're getting to that generation where like critics are losing a bit of their credibility and also just what people think because like I say they have one mindset, sports has a certain mindset and honestly when you work in an organization, sometimes you're paid to sort of lean one way instead of really debating it. Whereas creators, like I said, we're creators. We have free roam. We could say anything about any team and not really feel consequences and just be honest, truthful, like not truthful or not, but like if it's a hot take, it could we could be eating our words in 3 months, but sometimes we're very accurate, we're spot on, and it's sort of like you would never hear this on Sports Center the way we say it or the way these creators take it. And same with movies. We're very honest of what's a good movie for us, what we like, and what others might not like, I don't know if you saw my last movie review with Begonia. That was a movie that's
Mhm.
recently out on Peacock. Like I said, shouting out
Spoiler
Peacock.
alert in the comment section.
Yeah, yeah, careful, careful there. You know,
Smell that one.
but yeah, but like for me, and like, me, Tim, enjoy aliens, enjoy sci-fi, enjoy these conspiracy theories type things. This movie had all of that. So for me, I was a big fan of it. The acting was good, just that craziness, but like there's people that might not like that. Vera watched a little bit of it, not all of it, and she was sort of not really into it but like I said, that's also not her thing as much. So it's like I was very
Mhm.
honest, like that was my take. If you've watched our show, you get to know who I am, you get to know what I like, you know why I liked it. So it's sort of, that's where we come from as creators, whereas critics it's just like either really good that it's my word versus everybody else's word, and it's like you don't give chances for people.
Absolutely. Yeah, you beat me to the chase, Sean. I was going to shout you out with your movie reviews, especially the most recent one. And it's definitely something for our audience to pay attention to because he's our resident movie review expert here. And honestly, it's where I get my info from. And if I have a question about something old, new, it's certainly where I would direct it to is John. And and that just leeway is perfect into the take that you just said altogether because, critics can write up like a 3 paragraph, 4 paragraph essay, make it a
Yeah.
couple pages, whatever, make headline news. But, you know, it'll be one-sided, and I feel like oftentimes they bring like their feelings on a certain actor
Mm-hmm.
into it, and then it just changes their entire feeling of the movie altogether. And that's just it's like, dude, how
Mm-hmm.
much can you lean into that
Yeah.
and truly believe until you go see it yourself? And I feel like the trustworthiness comes more often from content creators, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
news headlines, sporting venues, food reviews. Like a food
Mm-hmm.
reviews is a good example where,
Yeah.
I'm gonna trust somebody who, because I'm kind of low-key fat ass, as I always say. Um, I follow a lot of food
Oh
content
yeah.
creators.
So do I.
There's this guy, shame on me, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he's based out of New York City, and he goes and tries these restaurants. I think recently he was at an exclusive restaurant for Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gary,
Gary
forget
V.
his name. Gary V. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
easier way to put it. Gary V.
Yeah.
And it's like an exclusive joint, and he goes in there, shows the ambiance, he gives a food review, he's honest.
Hmm.
He'll do restaurants where, he did one recently where somebody skipped a tab that is like other content creator and
Hmm.
didn't want to pay them for it and ate $300 worth of food, and didn't even leave a review on it. And that's just shameful, but he's honest. He goes through. I would trust him, and if I ever go to New York City, I'm honestly going to pull up his page
Hmm.
and, choose one out of a hat of something he's reviewed because it always looks great. He shows the meals. He's very honest. And I think that's freaking awesome. So,
Yeah.
and there's plenty of, reviewers like him across the US, across the world that honestly I would trust vehemently, if I were going into that particular city. Um, and I love that, and then, you get to like critics that, try to be too Gordon Ramsay. It's like, dude, I don't care that the silverware was gold, not silver. Like, just pump the brakes. You're going to lose me right away. And then at the same time, I feel like the visuals help a lot. Video,
Yeah.
reviews is phenomenal. Like, then it helps me kind of visualize what food and ambiance I'd be getting into versus, reading paragraphs from a
Hmm.
critic. And I guess that's why they're called critics, because they're not going to
Yeah.
really see the bright side always. And
Hmm.
yeah, but content creators, trust them much more. I think it's just the way to go these days.
Yeah, I think it's the way to go. Like I say, there's pros and cons to the creators that I like. Because
Hmm.
I've seen some videos, and I don't know if you've seen them as well, but like these creators that are expecting to get free meals all the time because they have this big
Mm.
TikTok page that's about food. And I get it. Like a lot of people follow you. If you say this one place is great, you know, a lot of people will show up, and if you say it's bad, you might really close them down. But it's like feeling that entitlement that, if you want me to eat at your place and review it, like you need to pay me, give me at least free food, whatever. It's like, yeah, I guess, but it's like you did this out of the love of eating, unless you're doing this just for the food, for the money, and your takes are really bad because I've seen some people say like, okay, if you're not gonna give me food or at least I'm not going to give you a good review. So that's already one-sided. It's like you're not being honest. You're just doing it for the free food. Whereas, just be honest. If a place is like, it's four
Mm.
stars out of 10, it's like, they have their good things, but it just wasn't meant for me because my taste palette's a little different. Than it's just an honest take. Everybody still has to give it a shot. Um, so it's the one thing I would say I like the creators. I watch a lot of them as well. I follow so many of them and like every single one. I save it. But the ones that I see that sort of are that way, where they're sort of just trying to make money off of it and not be honest, I'm sort of like, I sort of stop following them because I'm like, you have an agenda of just making money, whereas like, I'm trying to be informed. So.
Hmm.
And then some of the creators that I would say probably started this for me. I don't know if you ever watched them, Tim, or anything. But one of them, Action Bronson. I don't know if you ever watched
Oh
this
yeah,
show on Vice. If that's
it was a
delicious,
great show.
amazing
Hmm.
show. Always watched that, watched everywhere he went. And what I always liked is he really connected with the people that made the food, that community, and brought what that community was about, why that food was so meaningful, or why, the process. I forget where it was. I don't know if it was like Portland or somewhere, but like where, and it was a brewery, but it's like they raise their own cows and that's how they make the meat for their brewery for burgers and steaks. So you sort of saw that whole process, how they took care of the cows. And I was like, he's showing a lot more than just the food and why it might be good to support some of these big restaurants and also some of these small ones. And another one was Eddie Wong. I don't know if you ever saw his show, Wong's World.
Don't think so.
So it was also on Vice.
Mm-mm.
His show was really good as well. He went into some cultural stuff and some more just like more deep like segments. But a lot of the show was also about food. So wherever he went, he brought up the food, really connected with the food. Both of them went to Hawaii, and honestly, one of the first few times we went to Hawaii, we went to all the spots that they both mentioned, and like I said, they were all A+ spots. I know why. I see why they recommended it, and like I said, for me, Action Bronson, Eddie Wong were the first two like content creators that weren't critics, like big name, food and wine magazine critics that a lot of people listen to.
Absolutely. Yeah. And another one that comes to mind is Keith Lee on TikTok.
Yeah.
Uh, former fighter, I believe, right, in the UFC, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Um, and he started out of Vegas. I'm sure he's still
Hmm.
based out of there, but he's gotten, a worldwide platform at this point. But he
Hmm.
started off with, mom and pop shops over in
Yeah.
Vegas, and his reviews are very honest. Haven't seen him a lot lately,
Yeah.
but honestly, his original reviews were great. I know it would literally turn around like a business. I think that there's some
Hmm.
failing pizza places that, he went to, and it just
Hmm.
turned everything around. And, it's awesome. He talked everything from customer service to the quality of the food. I know and honestly, he's given bad reviews in there. I think he
Yeah.
had one out of Atlanta that he said, it was terrible. The service was really bad, and he wouldn't recommend it to anybody. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I think that's the best thing is when, they're okay giving bad reviews, knowing
Hmm.
how much spotlight it would give that particular restaurant. And
Hmm.
then, a restaurant comes back and tries to do a little bit more.
Hmm.
Honestly, Stool President, Barstool,
Yeah.
it's another one. Mr. Presidente, he goes through and his pizza reviews. I think
Hmm.
that those are okay. Um, he goes after his own quality of like what he thinks is good.
Hmm.
Obviously, no flop, crispy. He
Yeah.
likes New York style, Massachusetts style. But
Yeah.
it looks phenomenal. It
Yeah.
looks phenomenal. The stuff that he
Yeah.
grades. Dave Portnoy. Couldn't
Yeah.
think of his name instantly, but yeah, honestly, it makes me want to eat pizza.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly the point of it. So, he's another one.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I think that's why some of these creators that do it right, they just go and buy it, because eventually they get sponsored, they'll be doing a food review and then okay, this next, part of the review is sponsored by Zyn, have your nicotine patches, whatever it is, but Zyn's paying you to do a food review. So it's like you could pay
Mhm.
for it so you could give an honest review to to people that follow you because it's like you don't want to say like, oh, this place is amazing, but they paid you 2K to say that, where and then someone goes and is like, this food's shit, and it's like, and then
Yeah.
you lose credibility for that. So it's like, just be honest. Like I say, yeah, you want to get, I think everybody gets into this for sometimes the money, sometimes the free goodies you get, but like you honestly have to be honest. And if you're not willing to be honest, your credibility is gonna go down the drain. And like what we talked with Travis Kelce, his credibility with tacos, nobody's gonna listen to him talking about tacos because of his take. If he gave an honest take, it'd be
Wait.
like, okay, let's give him a shot. Let's try this one place out. But his take was bad, so he shouldn't
Mhm.
start a food channel or a food page on TikTok at all.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. Like if let's just say s- shit hits rock bottom for Travis Kelce, and he becomes a food reviewer later in life, it would
Uh,
have to really hit rock bottom. And he became a food reviewer, I would not trust him for a lick because if he's saying like Kansas City tacos are king,
mhm.
and I haven't been there personally. I
Yeah.
just know it isn't. And if he thinks that's it, like, what's he gonna think about other categories of
Uh,
food? That's
mhm.
why I think his restaurant could take a hit from that.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's steak, but like, if you have any say in what you're serving, Travis, that's tough.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be like, man, I hope Mahomes has a little bit more say, or you
Hmm.
let Taylor Swift give a little bit more, influence
Hmm.
into the menu, because man,
Yeah.
that's a rough look when it comes to food,
Yeah.
because yeah, I'm not gonna trust you.
Yeah. I think a follow-up question for you. For
Hmm.
anybody, and like I said, we don't have a food review channel. We barely do food reviews. Like we'll share what we do like, what we've tried. But like I said, we're
Hmm.
not big reviewers. Many people might not listen to us. But if you want to start a food channel, Do you think people should focus on a certain type of food, almost like El Presidente, Dave Portnoy doing pizzas? Like someone, just stick to the Mexican food, work that palate, because Mexican food is totally different than barbecue food and totally different than
Hmm.
Asian food. So it's like, should you focus on a niche of food instead of trying to do everything and everywhere? Because, like I said, then it sort of gets like, what do you really know about taste? Because if you think this Mexican place is great, but then this, Thai place is equal in a rating, it's like that's a whole different, palate type, and not everybody might have that same palate.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and you brought up two, very key things. Like if I were to start something, I mean, shoot, I could give a burger, pizza, any type of fat ass food. Steak I'd love to do because then, you get invites to steakhouses and
Yeah.
we could, I've had steak plenty of times, it's
Yeah.
it's good to review. Um, but you're exactly right. Something like Thai food or Indian food or something like that where I don't have it quite as often. I'm probably not going to give a very good, review,
Mm-hmm.
not saying that the food's bad. It's just like my credibility probably wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And I think focusing on a niche of something that you have most often is definitely probably the way to go. I know another really popular thing is like focusing on an area that you
Mm-hmm.
are, like Bay Area food reviews,
Hmm.
LA
Yeah.
food reviews, and then go around and I know that there's like an LA food guy that
Yeah.
eats out of his Tesla. And he, does everything from pizza to burgers to,
Yeah.
you name it. Anything that comes within a meal somewhere in LA that's super
Hmm.
popular. Um, that makes a whole lot of sense too. And yeah, if you feel really confident with a niche, run with that.
Hmm.
And then start up your own review and become credible. But I think helping in the area is awesome because it's like,
Yeah.
people can go on TikTok and be like,
Hmm.
best food in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And then maybe a popular influencer is going to pop up and be like, oh, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then you begin following him and
Hmm.
then see where else he goes if he gives
Yeah.
legitimate reviews and you like the food that he rated.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it works. But yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that's best. Stick with the food or stick with an area that you're comfortable with.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree because like I think burgers, pizza, I could give a decent review. Steak for sure because I eat a lot of steak. Like I said, I love sushi, but I wouldn't feel comfortable doing sushi reviews just because I think my palate's a lot different for some seafood. So it's
Mhm.
like I wouldn't feel comfortable saying like, oh, this place is great, but I only try like the teriyaki or the dragon roll. That's all I get. It's like, no, you got to try a little bit of everything. And like I said, my palate doesn't meet that. Chinese food, I like a lot of it, so I feel like I might be okay. But yeah, the Thai food, I've enjoyed Thai food, Indian food, I've enjoyed it, but it's just a different palette that I just wouldn't feel comfortable sharing. Now, like if I have to do just local food reviews, like I will share. It's like, you have to enjoy the spiciness, the smell, whatever it is, the peanut taste and some of this food, and just be honest with it and be like, it's not my cup of tea, but if you really enjoy these flavors, like you might really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's exactly right. And I have a question right back at you, John. And this is
Mhm.
going to be like I'm going to seem like fat bastard with this question right now. So be prepared.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back ribs. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back ribs.
Excuse me.
Chili baby back ribs.
Um, because I can tell the difference. I'll start with this.
Yeah.
Would you, this might be a good niche, honestly, but would you really take somebody's advice on fast food reviews based off of location? So, like, there's two McDonald's in town,
Hmm.
and one McDonald's is their fries are always hot and fresh. The other place seems like their fries are always not quite as fresh. You don't ever have as good as luck with them, or there's not enough salt on them. The other place puts enough salt. Would you take like would you follow a niche where in maybe even go out of your way to drive an extra mile to like go to a better reviewed fast food restaurant? Or do you not even care? Like you're eating McDonald's, F it, chicken nuggets or chicken nuggets.
I think I would actually thinking about it now because some of the McDonald's, when I think about it, the fries are either oversalted, undersalted, just right. Their, crunchiness is too crunchy when I didn't ask for them extra crunchy, or too soft. Like,
Mhm.
they don't feel cooked. Same thing with the burgers, enough lettuce. Like, who's doing it right? Who's doing it wrong? Who's sort of measuring
Mhm.
it and who's just sort of throwing it on there, you know, making 10
Yeah.
pound, making 10 pounds of fries at 10 a.m. that's gonna last all day. Like, yeah, and just heated. Like, I think that would be, for local areas, like try this McDonald's, drive that extra 5 minutes because
Mhm.
it'll be worth it.
Absolutely. And the reason why I bring up the saltiness, because I don't like too much salt, but I want to have a little bit of salt on the fries.
Hmm.
Staying local here in Thousand Oaks,
Yeah.
I prefer the McDonald's off of what is that? Moore Park Road
Okay.
versus the one off of Thousand Oaks Boulevard, closer to Westlake. Because
Okay.
the one like kind of by Do It Center over there,
Okay. Yeah. 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 Now I know
yeah,
which one.
Stonefire
Yeah.
Grill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stonefire.
I prefer the one off of Moore Park and Jan's because they put more salt on it. The fries are crispier. It's a
Yeah.
better experience if I'm going to McDonald's,
Yeah.
compared to the other one. And that maybe times have changed. Don't
Maybe.
want to, throw anybody too under the bus here. But honestly, when we were there, like I felt like it was a better
Yeah.
quality fast food. That's
Yeah.
it. And I would go out of my way to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think like in and out because like here in Ventura County,
Mm.
we have, if we start at Westlake, we have
There's a lot.
Westlake, Newberry, Camarillo. We have two in Oxnard now and one in
Hmm.
Ventura. That's seven.
Yep.
Two,
Then you have more park.
eight. Or
You have
I
one
think
in
that's seven.
Simi.
Eight. So it's like sort of seeing which one is really, high par of how they make the burgers. And like I said, I think a place like that might already be working like a system where it's like, okay, they're timed and they're really good at it because they have like someone manning every single station because you see it when you
Mhm.
drive through the window, you see everybody just there doing one thing.
Yeah.
They're not focused on
Yep.
other things. It's like you have one job. Here's your one job. Whereas McDonald's, all these other fast food restaurants, it's like one person doing burgers, fries, warming up stuff, waiting to hear something go off and go there, but then this gets burnt, so it's sort of
Hmm.
that type of system. And it's like, I don't know if you ever saw The Founder, the McDonald's movie
No, only clips, but no,
clips.
haven't seen it.
So it's sort of, I think why McDonald's probably was so great back then and why it became such a big franchise is it's sort of they're sort of doing that in and out method. That they started it because they had one person sort of focusing on the burgers only. That's what they mastered. One person doing the shakes, one person sodas, buns, all that, so and sticking to just a small menu compared to 40 things, it makes a difference. So I think that would be a good niche if you decide to start it, Tim. You know?
I might just do that, quite frankly. I think it could be worth my while. Because yeah, honestly, there's things like let's not kid ourselves. Like fast food has gotten pricey. Like our kiddos love
Mhm.
love kids meals. They used to be like what, $4, for like a
Hmm.
6-piece chicken nugget. Now they're like $7-8 a piece.
Hmm.
Like they've gone up
Oh yeah,
considerably
they're
for the same
expensive.
for the same food. So I focus a little bit more on those things these days. It's
Hmm.
it's like, how's the quality? Because
Hmm.
I'm like every other parent. Like I steal a fry out of it. Like, come on, they're not going to finish all those fries. So take one out of there real
Yeah.
quick, and that's just the payment that they got to give, their
Hmm.
pops. So in yeah, honestly, I'd key on stuff like that.
Yeah.
That might be the niche for banter.
It could
I don't
be
know.
the
Maybe I'll do it.
yeah. Well, we'll banter all the fast food places because yeah, I think about it too right now. Even like the French fries, some places I feel like give me a lot more French fries than other locations. Some of them jip me. I
Yeah.
feel, I get a large one and it just feels like a medium. Doesn't feel like a large.
Exactly. I want, and quite frankly, I want a few bag fries, ones that fall loose. Like, give me some of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta have at least like a good six there. Just just
come on.
strolling, greasing up the bottom of the bag.
Yeah. And then you're sticking your hand in there. You're like, oh, how'd you
Uh,
get away? And then that's, that's it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I honestly, I'm glad we both are on the same page with this one, John, because
Yeah.
I think it's something worth
Mhm.
taking in keying in on. Yep.
Yeah, no, yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, we went from sports and pop culture critics compared to creators to fast food, which, like I say, shows where our mind and our banter goes. But it is,
Oh, yeah.
creators are gonna start being the big things, and I hate to say it because, like I say, it's taking creators, people are taking creator jobs because all these famous people and all of these personalities that used to be critics now are trying to become creators because they know this is where it is. So, like I say, it's
Hmm.
tough competition because now, like I say, these creators that have been established have to go against big name creators that are coming into the business that people are going to follow. And like I say, nothing against it. It's just, you got to be stronger. So, for those creators that are out there, don't give up, continue doing your content. It's going to blow up eventually. Like I said, we've been going at this going a little over a year. So, and like I said, we're not slowing down. So all these other people, they could think
Mm-mm.
they're going to stop us. They ain't stopping us at all. We're the true banter on the rocks
Absolutely
here.
not. That's right. That's right. That's us. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Can't
right.
back down.
Here's your take.
NIL is about to scare money away. Players transfer every year. Donors don't get loyalty or thanks. And then you've got coaches publicly begging for $20 million checks. That's not sustainable for college football. Yes, this is a great topic because it can be seen in many, many different ways. And I have a couple stories that come directly to mind. One being a recent, and I say recent, maybe within the last
Mm-hmm.
month, Troy Aikman came out and said he's done giving
Mm-hmm.
money to UCLA based off of NIL deals. And I think it's rumored to be in relation to Dante Moore,
Mm-hmm.
who is now at Oregon. And he's like, "Yep, didn't even get a thanks, didn't even get to
Mm-hmm.
really communicate with that individual." Not trying to throw Dante Moore completely under
Yeah.
the bus. Don't know, what happens behind the scene, but or even if they really know where the money comes from, it could just be a
Mm-hmm.
pool of money and that's it. But at the same thing, it's like, yeah, you're donating a buttload of money, and then you don't get a thanks, you don't get a conversation with that individual, even if you are a legendary quarterback, with a big pull in football altogether. Yeah, it's going to be a humongous turnoff. And then on the other end, you go to like Arizona State's head coach who
Mm-hmm.
recently said, yeah, give me $20 million and I'll go find that kid and
Mm-hmm.
I'll bring him in here and we'll compete with anybody. It's like, dude, yeah, but that's just like now you're begging, and it's like, so is college football completely just gone to a point where it's like why are we paying you $8+ million a year if you can't go recruit well? you know, because there's going to be a ton of kids that are like, yeah, NIL deals are great, but the NFL money is going to be even better. And
Yeah.
then you go and, it's like, yeah, I will go to Arizona State because I believe in what that guy told me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to be a true freshman starter,
Yeah.
and, off to the races from there. And, they're in a big conference you know, but he's asking for money because honestly, it looks like he can't do it. He can't compete. So he's like, "Oh, where's the money at?" And it's
Yeah.
like, dude, why are you getting top-notch money if you are just looking for more of it to get a pull? It's like, you clearly don't have a Nick Saban influence. You don't
No.
have, what a Harbaugh influence had in Michigan. Like who are you kidding? Like, yeah, you're not going to pull anybody. And then that's got to be a turnoff for,
Mm. Yeah.
NCA for that particular college. It's got to be a turnoff for, where NIL is even going.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like the wild, wild west. It's continued to be that way for quite some time now. Um, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy some of these news stories. I heard that the Aikman one with Dante Moore, or supposedly Dante Moore. Who knows if it is, it isn't. And then the Arizona kid. State one, what is it? Kenny Dillingham asking for money from
Mhm.
donors. I think we sort of threw it out there once, sort of like, I think I made the pitch for Hawaii. There's a lot of money in Hawaii. Let's bring it to Hawaii. Let's bring football back to Hawaii. But like I say, Hawaii isn't asking, begging, coaches aren't begging people to go there, and asking for donors to get money to try to get more people there. Look at what they did recently in the Hawaii Bowl, beating Cal. They're an up and coming program, and they're doing naturally with the coaching staff. The players that are going there that want to go there, and NIL. You hit it on right on the dot. Like NIL is great. You're gonna get money playing college football, but is it about the money or is it about that playing time, that exposure? Because if you're getting 4 million NIL money, and you're going to Alabama, but you're just riding the bench the whole time, that's all you're gonna get. You're not making a stride for the NFL. Whereas you could go to Arizona State, take a mill, and it's like, okay, but I'm starting. I'm gonna be out there every time, and scouts are, NFL scouts are watching me. I'm not just going to be riding the bench the whole time. So it's like you got to do better at recruiting. Kenny Dillingham in Arizona State. A lot of these other schools are doing great. Cal is a team that, there's a coaching change in Cal, but I think they were up and coming before their coach left. Um, and like I said, there's a lot of these programs that are doing well, but the NIL money, I think this is going to scare people and it's going to scare donors because if you have someone like Aikman coming out saying he's not going to do it because there's just no gratitude towards him for giving these kids X amount of money and their loyalty to that organization for giving it to them, they're going to be thrown off and just sort of pushed away from it, which unfortunate, but I think it's going to make a big change in NIL within the next 2 years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I kind of think of like another scenario too, where, I brought him up earlier this podcast. Dave Portnoy, alumni of Michigan, he gave a ton of money to lock in Underwood, their
Hmm.
their starting quarterback, or at least rumored to be. We all know he did. Gave a ton of money to get him over there via NIL. And then you have an incident like what happened with Shamar Moore. It's like, what's to follow? Like, is he going to want to continue to give that money
Yeah.
to a program where they can't hold down a coach, or it's
Hmm.
just known for a bunch of drama, and like
Hmm.
even Harbaugh's tenure there wasn't always squeaky clean either.
Yeah.
There was the spying scandal, things like that. It's like, it's an issue.
Hmm.
They hired a new coach. Let's see how it goes. Hopefully it
Hmm.
goes a little bit better, and I think that, they got a good coach,
Yeah.
the guy coming out of Utah. So,
Yeah.
but again, like, is that a turnoff for him based off of what the coaches have done?
Hmm.
Could be. It doesn't just have to be the players, as this take says. It could be coaching, whether
Hmm.
they're begging for money, whether they're messing up at their job. You got to think about Penn State donors. It sounds like they're starting off with a clean slate. I know that their coaching hire was pretty decent, but
Yeah.
it hasn't been great for Penn State race
Yeah.
lately. So, a lot of these programs, and then it's another thing. I don't know if you saw this, but Arch Manning, I guess, is taking, an NIL cut in order to diversify some of those
Uh,
funds to some incoming players. I want to
uh,
say, I think he made what, 7 million? For some
yeah.
reason,
So.
4 million's coming to mind. I think it's like being close to split in half. It's still
Yeah.
going to be a ton of money for Arch, but like, he's going to take a cut in order to get more people there, which is, you know, good for Arch. I think it's
Hmm.
necessary because he hasn't really played up to deserving that much NIL money.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. That's kind of rare. I feel like, kids are going to want to get the money when they can.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. It's just they need to implement that cap quicker or something.
Yeah, I think they need to implement a cap because, like I say, someone like Arch Manning, Julian Sayin, Smith, Jeremiah Love. I think they were making their NIL money, but then they probably made a lot more from sponsorships, because Arch Manning is on
Hmm.
like five different commercials. So it's, he's making more than his NIL money. So it's sort of like, we're gonna cap you at everybody at 3 mil, 4 mil, whatever you want it to be. But then it's whatever sponsorship money you get, that's on you. You know, if you could work it, great for you. It'll help quite a bit. Donors may be a little bit more open to giving money to the school for that because it's like, okay, I'm not having to give 10 mil just for this one kid that might be here for a year. Because I think we've talked about it in the past of what we could see changing. But do you think contracts with NIL will be something that gets discussed and comes into fruition probably in a few years? Where if you're going to go to a school and you sign to them with NIL money, already in place, you're signing, okay, 2 years at least. If not, you're going to have to give back, you know, X amount of money.
I think that's the smarter way to go for from like a university standpoint. And quite frankly, if you think about it, it's going to be better for that athlete as
Yeah.
well. Because, I think a big thing that like NFL teams need to start considering is commitment to a program
Hmm.
or commitment to just even a team. Like
Hmm.
don't even look at it as a university. A commitment to a
Yeah.
team, to a coach, to a staff that you could work with. Because if I'm looking for a franchise QB, for example, I'm going to want somebody who spent 3 years at one university and had
Hmm.
success versus somebody who maybe stat wise had even more success at three different
Hmm.
universities. I'm going to be like, why did you transfer so much?
Yeah.
What what didn't
Yeah.
work at this college? Why didn't that work there?
Hmm.
What happened? Unless they can really back up why they went from, program to program,
Hmm.
it I think the stability looks a lot better because
Yeah.
that's, everybody wants the next Tom Brady. And,
Hmm.
he
Yeah.
was there for years and years and years. It
Hmm.
just works that way. Um, yeah, because I mean, we're seeing articles of, isn't there a QB that's going on to his seventh college now? I
Yeah.
think he's gone from like top programs and now he's messing around with like really low D1
Yeah.
colleges at this point.
But
And it's
but
like,
still
dude,
getting
like,
paid.
is still getting paid
Uh,
somehow.
uh,
It's crazy. But yeah, I think multi-year contracts is definitely something to look into and something to
mhm.
consider. Because yeah, I think that's just the way to
Hmm.
go. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I think it should be the way to go because you make the point like that's what NFL teams look for. It's that stability and commitment to an organization and to a team. If you're able to stay at, Arizona State for 4 years and be that top QB for 4 years, people are going to rely on you more because you have that grit and determination that you could take a team like the Raiders, the Jets, you might be the one that takes them to the promised land. But if it's like you
Hmm.
jump from school to school and you're the so-called number one pick, but how long are you going to be here? You're going to be here for your 3 years and then you're going to jump ship for more money just because you're the top quarterback, prospect. And it's like, do I want to take a chance on that or do I want to take a chance on someone that's just, established? So I think we'll see it a lot. I think you'll see it would be really good for basketball because I think it's basketball where you see a lot of players jumping ship every year. Because I feel like every
Yep.
year now, March Madness, it's like all of these players are in brand new teams, big programs. And even though they were already in a big program, they're going to another big program. And it's like, why don't you just stay where you were established, take that team and try to make that Cinderella run or that championship run.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. There needs to be some type of stability for college athletics at this
Hmm.
point because it's hurting things and it's like
Hmm.
relearning an entirely new offense or defense for these
Hmm.
players. And then, it's like it's just a crapshoot every year.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it needs to be considered. And then, another thing with Dillingham real quick is
Hmm.
he's there kind of seemingly begging for NIL money. But in second hand, you coincide that with Sam Levitt, their previous quarterback. I guess he didn't even show up with like the end of year dinner that they had ceremony thing
Uh,
with the team. He was nowhere to be seen. I guess he didn't even attend it. And I think that there was rumors like, oh yeah, he's going to go into the transfer portal.
hmm.
And that's a player who's had, a history with
Hmm.
Arizona State. They obviously made it to the playoff last year.
Yeah.
Were very competitive this year clearly wasn't their year. And I'm sure a lot of it had to do with Scotabo leaving, but like, it's got to be something to consider. It's like, okay, why is that quarterback now
Hmm.
leaving? Like, are you not able to hold down players at this point,
Hmm.
and you need money to recruit them? Like, what are you good at?
Yeah.
No, that's just what goes through my mind. And if I were giving millions upon millions of dollars, I'm sure it's a bit of a write-off. But it's like I give me give me a whistle like Shane Gillis with Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Like I want some involvement because it's
Yeah.
like, dude, if you can't do the job and I'm sitting on billions of dollars and I'll throw millions at you,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'll make this a part-time job.
Yeah.
Let me jump in there,
Yeah.
you know?
No. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens because yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of donors that are going to slow down how much they give to these schools, these programs, and I there's a lot of changes this year in college football landscape that we'll sort of see what happens, but with recruiting, NIL money,
Mhm.
because like you said, Michigan is one that, there is a new coach. It seems like they're going to try to start fresh, but it's like, can that coach establish what he has there? Underwood, is he going to stay with this coach or is he going to jump ship because he just is like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't have trust, so, that's where the AD sort of come into place and make the change because, in Cal, the quarterback, who's a quarterback? Uh,
He's really good, actually. I think he's going to
yeah,
be a top pick. I'm gonna.
but, but
He's from Hawaii.
yeah,
Jaron Kiwe Sagapalutale.
okay. Yeah,
Probably
but I
butchered
heard
that.
yeah, but I heard once the coach left, Cal, I forget where he went, but he was sort of not sure about the coach. But rumors
Mm.
are that he is staying, and the reason he's staying is because of the AD. Ron Rivera, I think, is the AD at Cal. So it's like you need to have a
Hmm.
strong AD and a strong just faculty there to keep those players when crazy changes like this happen. Because, like I say, one coach leaving sort of changes a program forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, Ron Rivera's influence, obviously all-time NFL
Hmm.
great as a player, had success as a coach, made it to a Super
Hmm.
Bowl with Carolina. It's somebody to trust. No matter how he ended his career with, coaching in the NFL, he still has great influence. Same can be said about a guy like Andrew Luck.
Hmm.
He has a pull. Not everybody will agree with his most recent hiring with Stanford. I saw a lot of negativity surrounding that from avid Stanford fans. But obviously he has a system, he has something to trust, and he's incredibly active with the program, which is
Hmm.
awesome. And just somebody to learn off of. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it has the pull and it can have the influence. And I think putting money into an athletic director these days that
Mhm.
is a or what is it, special assistant, or is it no, it's an AD, right? They're an AD.
Well, I don't know if Andrew Luck is, but I think Ron Rivera is. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Forget if it's like, or is it general manager, football general manager, something like that. I think
it
there's
could
like
be.
it's like a new position,
Hmm.
where they're considered like a GM.
Yeah, he's the GM. Andrew Luck's a GM.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I just get a big name in there as a GM, and that's going to help a ton. It's another great place to
Yeah.
put, funds of donors.
Yeah. So Ron Rivera also is the GM. So I think that's the new thing, the GM. Um,
Hmm.
I thought he was the AD for some reason, but he
Yeah.
probably
I
can
guess
be.
because
And
it's
yeah,
it goes
Eh,
across like multiple sports with the AD
yeah,
role, probably is
yeah.
why.
I think that's why, but because I don't know if Ron Rivera could have a pull in basketball, lacrosse, swimming, that stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows? Unless he's a master pioneer in all these sports, but he's more
Yeah.
football. So it's probably the new thing where these GM roles for certain sports are like the ADs or sort of manage that team, and that's how you get the recruits. So, um,
Yep.
yeah, well, we'll see. Um, but yeah, NIL money, it's scary to see, it was great for the kids, but it seems like it's just not working out the way I think a lot of people envisioned it, and I think a lot of these kids are taking it for granted a bit and taking advantage of it, and there's people are seeing it and it's going to change. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens though down the line.
Completely agree. And the rules of it are crazy. Sorry, this brings up one more quick thing.
Hmm.
There's a Chicago Bulls G League player who's being heavily recruited via NIL to go back to college. I think that concept seems insane to me. It's
Yeah.
like once you leave, you're gone. But
Yeah.
like, I think because he hasn't stepped foot on an NBA floor yet,
Yeah.
makes him still eligible.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
I don't that's it's too much. That needs to stop.
Well, what about this scenario?
Okay.
Old football star in high school that, might have gotten injured, took a few years off, but goes back to junior college, at like 27, and then it is great, an amazing talent. NIL money for him at 27 to go play at Alabama because he is the top QB in the country. Is that really fair? You know?
Yeah. For some reason, I was thinking about Uncle Rico getting a second
Well,
second
well,
chance.
well, well, that's what it sort of is. It's like an Uncle Rico
Yeah.
that has the arm that could take a team to a national championship, even though they're a lot older. Should he earn NIL money, because he's playing there at 27 when normally nobody plays at that age, in college at least.
Academically, is there like a is there a cap? Like can you because isn't there I if I can swear I think there's a guy in Pennsylvania who's in his 50s or 60s right now playing for a college program. I
I
think
don't
that's
know.
legit. I think that's legit. I'm gonna look that up really quick.
Okay.
But honestly, it's a good story. Uh,
Yeah.
you know?
It's a good story, but it's like, how would you feel as a donor giving to, say it happens to Cal State Fullerton. I don't even know if they have a football team. They may not. But say it's Cal State Fullerton football. And it's sort of like, the goal is to take this team to the promised land, but it's also to, get them ready for the NFL. A 27-year-old, QB won't really get drafted in the top or will be an undrafted star. But it's like you're giving NIL money to him when you could bring a younger person who has more promise. I don't know. I think I'm getting a little confused with it, but it was just the one thing I was thinking right now. It's like, how would that work? You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's a great point, and I I did find something here via ChatGPT. Um Tom Stillo, he's 60 years old and plays Division 3 college football. He's a student athlete at McDaniel's College. Um he's not just on the roster. He's been participating and making history as possibly one of the oldest active players involved in the game right now. Um, yeah, he's 58. Oh no, he plays at
Like home?
Lycoming College.
Yeah.
Lycom. Yeah. And D3. Jesus.
It's crazy.
So our careers aren't done yet, John.
No,
Just be
hey,
D3
hey,
walk on somewhere. Good
man,
for the channel.
I'm gonna go get my foot ready, start kicking. I know I could
Yeah.
do better than some of these kickers. Jake Moody, watch out! I'm coming for
Yeah.
your job right now.
Easy money. Easy money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
That is crazy. But see, it's like anything, when it's like that, I guess this G League thing makes sense, honestly. It's like, dude, if that guy worked an entire career, probably raised an entire family, and then goes back and plays college football,
Hmm.
anything's possible.
Yeah,
Anything's possible.
yeah. So I'm seeing here some older recent college football players. One,
Okay.
two at schools that stand out. Tom Frisbee, this was in 2005, age 40, played for South Carolina as a wide receiver.
Hell of a name.
Yeah. And then James Stefanu, age 40,
Okay.
2020, played at Colorado as a kicker. So I could still
See,
make it
like
as a
this isn't
kicker.
even 1930s.
Yeah.
Like this is like last
Five,
10 years.
yeah, 5 years ago for the kicker at 40. I'm like, I can
Dude,
make it. I got two
Dude,
years.
you're in your prime, John. You're in your prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do.
That
I
is
could do
great.
it.
We got to start a series, kicking comeback.
Uh,
You got to local high
but
school and
yeah,
start kicking field goal.
but like I say, it's like if I could get an NIL deal, go back to college. Like I say, I already have my bachelor's. Like I could go for a second bachelor's. Like, will a
Yeah.
school pay, scholarship? Should it go? Is it fair to go to someone like me who's already gone to school just because I have the leg? I'm not going to say no to it if I get recruited, but how are other people going to feel? And like I say, is it just fair? Because like I say, for me to get into the NFL at 42, it'll be a hard, probably not drafted, have to be a unrestricted, unsigned player. But hey, these kickers play till they're 50, 60, so I could still do it.
How chill would it be to be a practice team kicker?
Yeah,
That'd be so chill.
it
To
would be.
show up at practice, kick some field goals. That's all you do.
Yeah.
And you get paid handsomely.
Hmm.
That'd be great.
It would be good.
Jake Moody. I
Yeah,
mean, he's starter
Jake.
now, but he was practice team for a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, NIL money, big talks with some of the stuff going on, college football. We're going into the college football playoffs this week, so getting closer to the end of the college football season. So a lot more talks about this will happen because I think recruiting is going to start happening soon. And
Mhm.
also the transfer portal. So we'll see what happens in the college football landscape after this.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Lots of movement.
Yeah. But those are our banter takes for today. Agree or disagree? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear where you stand and on this week's banter. But man, we've been chatting for quite a while. I feel like it's already 11. We'll go
Oh, yeah.
to our NFL talk. We'll talk the main games from this week and sort of big headline games and what's coming into the final week. But first game from this week, Lions versus Vikings. Vikings winning 23-10. Lions getting eliminated. I wouldn't have seen this beginning of the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. Lots of issues. I know that there's like I think they have like 20 players on IR right now. Like it's they're down bad on the health
Mm-hmm.
category. Um, but like this that game was not good. Like the Vikings have been very good defensively
Yeah.
through a lot of the season. Their offense is where it's been a lot more shaky. Um, but Jared Goff did not look good. Five turnovers. Uh, Gibbs, the last few games hasn't really been able to get
Mm-hmm.
anything going. He's looked like a totally different player. Um, and then you pair that with, uh, kind of some question marks with Dan Campbell. It's like, did Ben
Mm-hmm.
Johnson make that offense because of all the success he's having with the Bears?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes you wonder, like how much were you hiding behind your coordinators?
Yeah.
Because it's something that's got to be brought up. I'm a Dan Campbell fan, not a Lions fan, but I am a Dan Campbell fan. I like the guy. I like his sentiment. I like his interviews. I think he seems like a great guy, a good coach. Um, but it does make you wonder, because this is a very down year for them.
Yeah. It's insane because like when you look at the Vikings stats, total yards 161, passing yards
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
3 yards.
Brosmer, baby.
Rushing yards 158, but it's like, how does a team like this win against a Lions team that should be good? And yeah, is it Dan Campbell? Is it all these injuries? I honestly think it's the end of Jared Goff. I don't think any team could have trust in him after his first
Hmm.
2 to 3 years on a team. I think he needs to make a switch so he could be good for the next 2 to 3 years. But I think he's done just away with the Rams. That first few years, he was a great player, but then he fell off. They brought in Matt Stafford, and that made a whole much of a difference. Maybe it's time to bring Matt Stafford back to Detroit, and make that swap, and try to,
Yeah.
it'd be a good story for Matt Stafford to go back and win one for Detroit before he retires. Um,
Mhm.
but tough game, yeah.
Yeah, tough game overall. Yeah, Lions need to, I don't know, get healthy number one, and
Yeah.
then look at, some changes there. Even question that, like you mentioned, the quarterback.
Hmm.
Stats wise, Goff looked pretty good this year, but um, if you look at the tape, there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of downtime.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of downtime. But yeah, that was that game. Next one, Ravens versus Packers. I'm happy with this game. Ravens winning.
I bet.
Um, good game. Huntley did what he had to do. Um, Derrick Henry, monster game. 36 carry, 216, four touchdowns. Um, I've talked about it a lot. You got to feed Henry the ball, stick to your game script. I think the Ravens heard all the media chatter and all the chatter just from everybody last week of why they didn't give Henry the ball in the after his last touchdown and why they probably lost last week. But great game for us, a must-need win. We'll talk about, just week 18 because week 18 is going to be big for us. But Green Bay side, Malik Willis going to be a starter next year somewhere. If it's not with Green Bay, it's with someone else.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was a really big advocate of
Mm,
Malik Willis,
mm,
and I don't know if it was more in my own brain, but when he was being drafted, I thought he was going to be legit. He was a very highly talked about, person out
mm,
of, I believe he went to Liberty, if I'm not mistaken.
mhm,
Just crazy athletic talent, hell of an arm, and he's shown a lot of that. And quite frankly, I think Jordan Love is probably the slightly better player, but Malik Willis runs the offense better, in my
mhm,
opinion. Just the fluidity of it all. I think it looks way better with Malik
mhm.
Willis, and maybe Packers low-key paid the wrong guy. I
Yeah.
hate to say it. It might be a little bit of a hot take, maybe not for some, but like Malik Willis looks very, very good.
Mhm.
And you nailed it. Like Tennessee, good Lord, you had Vrabel, you had Malik Willis, you had AJ Brown, like, and you effed it up. You had
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. I mean, good Lord,
Yeah.
that is arguably one of the worst run franchises
Mhm.
in the league, top three, like just down bad. But yeah, no, Malik Willis. There's several teams that needs a starter next year.
Mhm.
Um, and he's going to be a top candidate. He earned himself a great payday. So
Yeah.
shout out Malik Willis, good for you. Ravens side of the ball, yeah, Derrick Henry. We talked about it last week. We love Keaton Mitchell, but give it to your stud, especially in a
Yep.
game where Lamar is out. You can't rely on the receiving, too much with
Mhm.
Baltimore. Stick with what you know, and Derrick Henry is that old reliable.
Yeah.
Just feed the beast, and that's exactly what they did. Um, one other thing, Harbaugh seemed to listen. I don't know if he listened to us, listen to the general public of the Ravens. Um, are you buying? We don't have to get into necessarily specifics. Are you buying into some of the rumors surrounding Harbaugh and the rest of the Ravens at the moment?
I'm buying it a little bit because it's been something that's gone around for a few years. I think just his play
Okay.
calling and then some of the excuses why the play calling has gone that way has probably rubbed some of the players the wrong way, possibly.
Mhm.
But I think we talked about it when you mentioned it a few weeks ago. Like, is he gone? I don't think he's gone after this year, no matter what happens. I think he'll
Yep.
get another year, but he has to sort of show it next year. You know, it's a make it or break it year for him. Um, there are rumors of him going and us bringing in someone else. Someone saying Brian Flores will be a lot better for us just because our defense needs help. Possibly, but
Yeah.
also Brian Flores' track record as a head coach hasn't been that great, where Harbaugh has won us a Super Bowl.
Yep.
So we'll see, but I think how next week go or this week goes will be a big tell all of how they feel. But yeah,
For sure. Check out John's post too.
yeah,
Maybe the battle of future of coaching with the
yeah.
Steelers in Baltimore
Could
coming up.
could
Um,
be
it's a good
could
preface.
Could be. But yeah, that's the Ravens game. Like I said, we'll talk more Ravens later. Next, Dolphins Bucks. I think this one just Buccaneers losing to the Dolphins. It makes their week this week a tough game because their fate is not in their hands. It's in Atlanta's hands. So
Hmm.
poor loss to the Dolphins out of all teams. Like I said, Dolphins, 7-9, but not a great team. Baker Mayfield, big yardage, but two picks. Couldn't come up. A Chain does what he does. Quinn Ewers might be the starting quarterback there, for the future, playing really well. But we'll see. But yeah, I think the big thing with the Bucks game is Bucks losing just takes their future out of their hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bucks, they lost it themselves.
Hmm.
You can't even credit the other team so much. This was a terrible loss. There's been several of them in recent weeks. Baker is playing very subpar,
Hmm.
and he has his weapons. Like
Yeah,
there's no excuse,
yeah.
quite frankly. And I've liked Baker's comeback. You were very high on them, and I think
Hmm.
for very good reason. And
Yeah.
your take looks super good. Still there.
Hmm.
You never know. Baker could win MVP.
Yeah.
but Bucks most importantly getting into the playoffs. I think that's
Hmm.
obviously still very real. Um, but yeah, just kind of a disappointment, especially
Hmm.
against the Dolphins. Quinn Ewers could
Yeah.
be the future QB there. They might find something, get him a little bit
Yeah.
more comfortable. They drafted him for a reason, and then hopefully you offload to we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, and you kind of run with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
Bucks, not a good loss.
Yeah. Next game, Browns versus Steelers. Big one from the Browns. Happy with this game because Steelers losing puts the
Hmm.
fate into week 18. Um, but big news for this is Steelers losing. They did it to themselves. I heard before the game this week that they were going to focus on Myles Garrett and not letting him get the sack record, against them. And they were more focused on that, I think, than winning the game and not, if they would have won this week, they would have been in the playoffs. They were guaranteed a spot. Losing makes week 18 a big matchup for both the Steelers and the Ravens. So, if I was a Steelers fan, I'd be pissed off that they focused more on the sack record and not getting a win against a Browns team that should have been an easy win.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, the Steelers should have absolutely clobbered the Browns. The Browns are an awful team. It makes zero sense that they were held up this much. But clearly they focused on Myles Garrett more than the win itself. And that's shameful because this season, looks like a more promising season for
Hmm.
them. But honestly, not at this point. And I watched a clip of the final play with Aaron Rodgers. He had Kenny Gainwell wide open. It's a he's trusted Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell's had a
Hmm.
phenomenal season. Um, he was wide open on like a on like an in route
Hmm.
and missed him. It happens obviously, but yeah, it's a tough look. And just a subpar game. Focus on
Yeah.
the wrong things. So
Yeah.
good for your Ravens though.
Yeah. Good for the Ravens. And then last game for just to review this week in short, 49ers versus Bear. Amazing game Sunday night. Big win for the 49ers, but Bears, man, keeping it close. Bears are going to be a scary team in the playoffs because they're for sure in. But 49ers, big win because that also means week 18, big game, big game.
Oh
So,
yeah.
but overall, Brock Purdy, amazing game. McCaffrey doing McCaffrey things. Pierce all coming back, having a great game for them. On that side, and then Bear side, Caleb Williams did what he had to do. Swift did what he had to do. Um, it's going to be fun to see both of these teams in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I will say this made my travel experience go by a lot faster. Phenomenal. game. Anybody, Niners or Bears fan, your blood pressure was raised this entire game. Like it
Yeah.
was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Phenomenal game. Two high-powered offenses. Kyle
Mhm.
Shanahan, I liked my jokes last season. I really did. I had a lot of fun with them. But quite frankly, you deserve Coach of the Year. Absolutely
Oh,
phenomenal season, given all of the injuries that he's endured with this roster. Like phenomenal way he's done it. The past few weeks, like 5 weeks maybe,
uh,
the 49ers offense, in my opinion, feels like the best, not just the offense, but more the offense than the defense. It seems like the best flowing offense we've had in
mhm.
years, in my opinion. I think the offense has looked phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just it's like next man up mentality.
Mhm.
A healthy McCaffrey, healthy, staff. This game, Kittle was out. Tonga stepped in perfectly. Dude's been
Perfectly. Yep.
awesome. Anytime Kittle's missed, Tonga steps right up and is played very, very well.
Yeah.
Um, Roster stacked. Pearsall, glad to have him healthy. Who needs Ayuk at this point? Juwan Jennings stepping up, like Brock Purdy, swag galore. Dude is just off the charts. He is not sneaky athletic. He is athletic, as CMC says. Um, Love you, Brock. You're worth every penny at this moment. Thank you. Yeah, and then another thing, pay Sala, pay Sala, pay Sala, pay Sala. Keep him. Don't let him go to another head coaching role. Pay him as much as a head coach needs. Keep Sala. He is a difference maker. There's been so many injuries to that defense, and he's kept it in line.
Yep.
So major props to Robert Sala.
No.
He is exactly what we need. So Niners love the win. Chicago Bears, scary ass team.
Yeah.
Scary ass team. Like Ben
Scary.
Johnson has them rolling. Loveland is a phenomenal tight end, by the way.
Hmm.
He had no drops going into the game, and he only had one drop this game, but 7 catches, like almost 100
Yeah.
yards, touchdown, stacked. They're phenomenal team.
Yeah. No, great team, both sides. Yeah, Sala most likely might get a head coaching job, but we'll see. Yeah,
Nope.
you, you
Nope.
guys do need to pay him,
Not
but
available.
not available.
Not available. Not
Not
available.
available for Tim. You guys all heard that. But
Yep.
yeah, great game. So we'll sort of talk about this week because there's a lot of big games this week that are going to have playoff implications. The first game Saturday. We're having two Saturday games. Panthers versus Bucks. This is a big game for the Bucks. They need to win to have a chance, but Bucks also need Atlanta to lose. That's the only way that they'll make it. Atlanta wins, no matter what they win, even if they win, they're out. Panthers are in. So Panthers are
Mhm.
trying to go for the win, and Atlanta, and if they don't win, they just need Atlanta to win, and Atlanta is facing the Saints. Uh, a Falcons win just guaranteed Carolina the playoffs. So big game for them. I would want to see the Bucks in just because I think that offense will be a lot more exciting, or could be a lot more exciting the way they probably can play if they play perfectly. But Panthers are hit or miss. Like last week, just underwhelming. Bryce Young, not that great of a game. That team, not that great. But like I say, it's just a poor conference that they're gonna be in just because they're just a better bad team.
Absolutely. No, I agree. This is the last season I want to see the Bucks in. I'm gonna preface that with some older players, Mike Evans nearing the end of his career, Godwin likewise.
Hmm.
Just Mayfield hasn't played up to par. This is the last season I'd want to see them make it in. But my focus would then turn to Falcons have some talent, but I think Pitts leaves. But I'm more interested in seeing what Carolina has to hold next year because I think
Hmm.
they could be the division winner next year. And
Hmm.
then the Saints have really been
Oh yeah,
good.
yeah.
Shook has been phenomenal. They have a lot of good elements there, and this is all. done without Kamara. So there's some elements there that they could add on to.
Hmm.
Kellen Moore's done a phenomenal job with coaching them. But yeah, Bucks see them this year, and then I'm good with seeing either Panthers or Saints in the following years.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see, but that's going to be a big game Saturday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Then the
Okay.
afternoon game on Saturday, Seahawk 49ers. Big game
Yeah.
because winner of this gets number one seed, you know, playoff or wild card week bye week and home field advantage. So big game. Um, is it in they're in San Francisco?
It's in so what's funny is San Francisco, the Niners can play a home game every single game the rest of the year, possibly.
Hmm.
If we win all the way, every game's going to be at Levi's,
Yeah. Super
including
Bowl
the
too.
Super Bowl.
Hmm. So
Yep. And that's fine.
it
I
sounds
love
like
that. We
destiny.
literally control
Destiny.
everything. Yeah, that's right. Let's have it. Let's have it, man.
All
And quite frankly, no, I won't go there. Too soon.
right.
I won't say it. I'm going to bite my tongue. But yeah, going to be a phenomenal game. Really excited for it. This Bears game was great, and it leads into a phenomenal game against the Seahawks.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a big hitting game because both these teams that bye week will help so much that you need to take it, especially the 49ers, they've been playing pretty hard. I think a break will help them. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see this. It's gonna be I think the probably first or second biggest game of the week for me. Uh, there's a
Yep.
few other
We might get
ones.
Warner back, by the way.
Yeah,
Warner
Warner
might come
back.
back for the conference or maybe even the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, you know, and if he comes back healthy, whew, that makes that defense even
Oh,
scarier.
yeah. Let's
So
go.
we'll see what the 49ers Seahawks game is, but gonna be a high hitting game. You think high scoring or
Yes,
defensive?
based off the last two Niners games,
Mhm.
I would say combined score over 50.
Over 50. Okay, good game. Good game.
Hmm.
All right. One of the next big games, or one of them, I don't have it on my big game list, but it is a big game. Patriots Dolphins. Patriots need a win. They should get the win pretty easily against the Dolphins, but they need a win because the big game Broncos versus Chargers. Broncos
Mm.
lose, Pats take number one seed and that bye week. Broncos need a win. They have the similar record, so they need a win. Chargers, uh, what are they at? 11-5. I think I think they're gonna stay in the same spot. I don't think they lose anything with a loss. So who knows if they're gonna come in 100%, you know. So
Yeah. What
opens up.
about with the Texans? Same record now, right? And then Texans just beat Chargers?
Yeah. So it might just be seeding, but like I say, it just
Yeah,
depends on
seeding.
what the
Yep.
seeding is. Um,
You're right.
but yeah, nothing like with first in the AFC because I think Broncos are still a game above them even with a loss. So no major changes there. So who knows if the Chargers are going to come with full force or they're going to have rest some guys. I think this is a team the Chargers do need a rest. They need to get a healthy team, healthy O line,
Yep.
healthy Herbert, healthy wide receivers, like just overall. So they may be sitting quite a few players because they're already guaranteed in the playoffs. Which opens up the Broncos. They need to play. They got to play their players. Like I say, them losing the mile high advantage, playing home every game in the AFC, you got to take advantage of that because the high altitude could be a difference maker for your team. So that's a big game for
Hmm.
me.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, huge game. Depends, yeah, like you said, Chargers, if they want to stay competitive or not, doesn't
Hmm.
really matter. Um, did are we confirmed on Pats taking AFC East now with the Bills
Yep,
loss and their win this past week?
yep, it's confirmed.
Ah, how about that, huh?
Your take.
All right. There we go. Good for
Yes,
banter.
good.
I might do it. I might buy a Drake May jersey.
You
I
might
might do
have
it
to.
just
You might
because of
have
the
to.
take.
Yeah.
She's gonna hate it. I bought a Shaq jersey,
Nice.
represent LA. I love Shaq
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
But Drake May jersey, I don't know
Drake
because of the
May.
take.
It might
Yeah,
be, you know.
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Proud of those Pats.
Yeah. No,
1 year
they're
fan.
doing well. Yeah.
That's all.
But big game for those two. And then the last big
Yep.
game, Ravens Steelers. It's win it, get in. Big game for us. We win, we're in. Steelers win, they're in. Lamar Jackson still questionable with his back injury. If he doesn't play, we got to do the same memo we did in Green Bay. Just run it, run it, run it. If for some reason the Steelers could stop us, then we got to get creative. Huntley, I think, can get the job done. And then our defense just has to find a way to stop Aaron Rodgers and Gainwell. No DK Metcalf for the Steelers, so DK's incident with the fan 2 weeks ago might hurt this team so much that they're going to lose this game. Because after DK,
Mhm.
there really isn't. DK was for me. DK wasn't even a number one wide receiver. Let's be honest.
Ye-
You're gonna have to
Yeah.
rely on Pat Fryermuth, MVS too old. Jonnu Smith hasn't done what he did last year, and then Thielen. Thielen went to what he thought was going to be a contender. Uh, Picked the wrong team.
Psych. Should have gone to the other AFC
Yeah.
North team. But yeah, no, and then you mix that in with TJ Watt's unfortunate lung injury. Kind
Mhm.
of just a That's just a crazy scenario with what happened to him. But I don't think he's going to be back this season, right? I know he's been rumored to possibly be back, but I don't. At least regular season. I
Yeah.
won't talk for the playoffs yet, but
Yeah.
that's a very serious injury.
Yeah.
Wish him best of health most of
Mhm.
all, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Ravens got it. I think you guys got it. Just feed Henry. Just
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel. Like I want to watch the game, but at the same time I don't, because if it doesn't go the way I want it to,
Mm,
I'm gonna be so mad because like I think we've talked about it. This is the one season, this AFC, it's gonna be a tough AFC, but we don't have to go against the Chiefs and the refs. Like I said, we
yeah.
avoided that, and Josh Allen probably doesn't want us to get in because it'll be the first year he doesn't have to face Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. And for him it's probably an easier route, but the way that AFC East, they didn't even win that conference, Pats took it. So it still would be a tough battle, but if we can make it, and like I said, that's always a big word, if we make it in, Lamar comes back and he can just play the Lamar way and we stick to our game plan, we can make a little run. I think we can. But like I say, there's
Yep.
a lot of factors. Coaching is another one. Like Tim mentioned, if you saw my post, I put it out there just because I was curious if this is coaches playing for their job. I think whatever coach might be at risk of losing it. Ravens, I don't think Harbaugh will lose it because been making the playoffs. We've been doing well. Tomlin, on the other hand, has had bad seasons, bad signings. Rodgers still question mark. DK Metcalf didn't do DK stuff. What you paid him. I think if it doesn't go well, he can be making a change, and I think he'll still be a great head coach somewhere, but might not be with the Steelers anymore.
Definitely. Yeah. It's just one of those things where, the franchise fans are just tired of going 9-8 every season.
Yeah.
And somewhere around there, barely over 500. And I can't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah, a change is sometimes just necessary.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, let's see what happens. If you guys do make it in, would that be who'd you guys draw first? Either Broncos or Pats?
Let me see. NFL picture. updated.
I have a feeling it'd be Broncos or Pats. You guys would be the lowest seed if I'm not mistaken.
We'll be
Or is it a
four, so
play-in?
no, we're four. We would be four. So as of
Oh, because
right
the
now,
division.
yeah, because we're first in our division, so we
Ah,
get the four seed. So we at least get one home
got it.
game, or we could get multiple home games depending on who wins. But we would be going right now Houston, so it could be either Houston or the
Ooh,
Chargers, depending on that. So tough games, but like I
ooh,
say,
Harbaugh.
they have to come to. Imagine Chargers, another hardball bowl, and this time not for the Super Bowl.
Look out. They might turn off the lights. Might
Hey,
turn off the
yeah,
lights.
they're in our house. They don't have access to the lighting system, at M&T.
S- well, he has scouts. He
He does.
has
He
little,
does. His dad.
side personnel. His dad.
His
Imagine
dad
his
does it.
dad just going up there.
Uh,
Here's a switch.
but yeah,
Be hilarious.
yeah.
Fun,
So yeah,
fun playoff.
AFC wise, like I say, Denver could lose the number one spot as of right now. If they would switch with New England, that would put Denver playing Buffalo, which would be a big game. As of right now, New England's playing
Oh yeah.
Buffalo, and I think it'll stay like that if Denver and New England win. Jacksonville staying at number three, so it's either they're going to be playing the Chargers or the Texans, depending on how the next week goes. Um, you know, it, if you're the Chargers, would you prefer to play Jacksonville or the Ravens slash Steelers? Or if it's the Ravens, who would you prefer?
If I were the Chargers, I'd prefer to play the Ravens.
Okay.
And the Ravens, you either get Texans or Chargers.
Yeah.
I'd rather play the Chargers. I think
Yeah.
they would choose each other,
Yeah.
quite frankly. I think that gives the best shot. I think the Texans defense is way too good.
Hmm.
Chargers didn't look real great
Yeah.
this past
Hmm.
week. And then Jacksonville, it's just bad memories for the Chargers a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was so ugly.
Yeah.
Um,
So if
yeah,
the Chargers want that to happen, they need to play and try to beat Denver because they're the six.
as they
They're number
as
six.
they should.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they may play everybody and it might be a tough go for Denver. So um,
If they
but
do that, I'm bringing back the referee outfit. Gotta get
yeah,
Fidel on.
we gotta get Fidel on. And then NFC, I think the only big change would be Seattle and San Francisco, 1-5. Um,
Hmm.
as of right now, San Francisco's playing Carolina or the Bucks, depending on how things go. But like I said, there's a lot for the Bucks to get in. The Rams looks like they're playing Philly. It'll stay that way. And then Chicago versus Green Bay. That's going to be a killer game in Chicago. Um,
Hmm.
so not as many changes possibly in the NFC, but like I said, the big one, both number one seeds in NFC AFC up for grabs this week, which I don't think we've seen much, in recent history.
No, the NFL playoff parity right now is top notch.
Yeah.
It's going to be phenomenal.
It is.
The end of this season has redeemed what the start of the season was. It
Hmm.
was like a ton of injuries, subpar play, kind of bleh, like what is
Yeah,
this? The last half of the season,
been good.
perfection.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Yeah. So it'll be a good end of the season, week 18 this coming week. Uh, yeah, but that's NFL talk. Next, we're gonna, it's gonna be a new year for us. We want to look back at some of our comments, some of our takes, and I pulled up six with some interesting takes, comments. I'll start with this first one. Brock Purdy takes. I'll eat my words. Esteban might be happy, but the way he has played the last few weeks, he may be worth the money. He actually may be worth the money.
There he is.
Um, let's see what happens. He may be worth the money, but playoff time. I think week 18 is going to be a big game. If he could do well in week 18 and get that number one spot, I think he's worth it. If he sort of chokes this game, he's going to have to make it up in the playoffs to sort of win me back over.
Yeah. No, I hear you. quite frankly, I think if the Niners were to lose this game, it's going to be a defensive loss and
Hmm.
an offensive team that is keeping us in the game, but the defense just gives up one too many touchdowns.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that's
So
how
we'll
it'll
see.
go.
Yeah, but that was one of the big takes we had a lot this year of Brock Purdy getting the big contract, the big number compared to what we think he was supposed to get paid. At the beginning of the season, I think we probably thought he wasn't worth it, but the last few weeks, I have to admit, he has shown that he could be that guy. He has the swag, not looking like a system QB, but let's see. Let's see. But that was one of the
Let's
takes
see.
this year.
Yeah.
Another one, sort of to you, red zone. We said red zone was going to be a complete fail. It wasn't going to be well. All the commercials. I never checked out red zone. I didn't have ESPN. I know you did for a bit. Overall, how was red zone to end the year?
Yeah, so that's I've used it every single week, multiple hours at a time, non-shamefully. Love the NFL.
Hmm.
There is ads. It is more than what they said. But I will say it's not as intrusive
Okay.
as what I thought it would be. But the thing that ended up bugging me more is I feel like I don't think this is just me. There's been a lot of sound issues
Okay.
with Red Zone where we lose Hansen for a bit, and then it's just, the live commentary, and they don't change out the games, and they just leave it with one game for way too long, it seems. That's bothered me more versus the ads. The ads are quick and they keep the game on the screen.
Hmm.
Still don't love it. Nobody likes ads, but
Yeah.
it's just the way of the world.
Yeah.
Could have been
Okay.
worse. So
Yeah.
I'll own that where it didn't ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's good. All right. Now these are some that had comments that we sort of just want to address. I'll start with this one. It was a January 31st post, where we said that the Detroit line window has closed. We were already calling it back January 31st that they weren't going to make
Man.
it. I
Yeah.
think our take was sort of coaching. All of the assistant coaches left. Johnson, Glenn, they went to head coaching jobs.
Hmm.
George Wu said, "Give me a break." I don't think he was happy with our take. And then Sir Postel. This is the story of why podcasting equipment needs to be expensive. I think first of all, it is expensive already. We paid the money. It's not that cheap.
Mhm.
It's already expensive. So, and second of all, who's talking now? Our podcast equipment was perfect for that time. It was called by us on Banter that window was closed, and look at how they did this year. They were a bad team. It could be coaching, it could be different assistants, and what Ben Johnson and Glenn were was the Lions. So, to George Woos or Postel, like, hey, eat your words, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Screw you guys. And no, George Wu, I will not give you a break in my Kit Kat bar, you jerk. Uh, learn to know when your window is closed as
Yeah,
Chiefs fans as well. But yeah, no, we saw it coming. This is
yeah.
another one. I even forgot about this one because we've been more focused on some other teams. But yeah, we saw it coming. Like,
Hmm.
dude, a year ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that was one. Another one, July 25th that we posted. We posted a clip and we discussed Chiefs on a regression year. Their division is strong this year. We were talking about how the AFC, the Chiefs weren't going to be the number one team. I think you had it right on the dot because I think you had Denver, you had the Chargers, then you had the Chiefs. We threw in Oakland there a bit, or not Oakland, the Raiders. But we said, that we're going to have a regression year. And then NT underscore Jaleo, he says it was nonsensical. Chiefs go 17-2 with their wide receiver one out 17 games, wide receiver two out 14 games, RB1 out 10 games, RB2 out 19 games, WR4 out 6 games, four different left guards. And then he's like, with a healthy team, stud at LT, they get worse, question mark. And then he put a laughing emoji. Who's laughing now?
Hmm.
Who's
Yeah, who's
laughing now?
laughing now, buddy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Sucker.
that solid team. what do you guys think? I think there was someone else, a different video, I couldn't find it, said Hollywood Brown was going to be the best wide receiver or, the top-notch wide receiver. I think he disappeared, you know.
I didn't even know he's still on the team.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. And same thing with, Juju Smith Schuster,
Yeah.
Smith, where
Yeah.
were you? Just
Yeah.
wasn't around. Um, yeah, no, told you so. Yeah, just don't hate us when we're right.
Yeah. Like I
Facts.
say, it's one that we gotta talk because we called it and it happened. We saw it
That was a
from a
good
long
one.
time. Yeah, and I think we sort of talked about it like the year before that when they made the Super Bowl, the Eagles exposed them. They showed that they weren't that great of a team and they were just a team that got helped by the refs. This year they had no referee help and see what happens. They're not that
Yeah,
great of a team with all their weapons.
absolutely not. And in a big thing too that we prefaced was the records of the rest of the AFC West during this run with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The AFC West has been abysmal,
Yeah.
up until the last 2 years. Like it's been down terribly bad. And, it's been a cupcake division, easy wins,
Mhm.
easy, what is that? 6 wins a year.
Yep. Six
Um,
wins.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then you guys just have to win a handful of others.
Yeah.
And it's cupcake victories. It was a cupcake walk into, the Super Bowl last year. And then you guys
Yeah.
got your ass handed to you, deservedly so, because it was cupcakes. And maybe Travis Kelce needs to review cupcakes.
Maybe.
Think
Could be.
about that,
Could be
Chiefs
his
fans.
could be his niche. Cupcake
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah. Have fun in rural Kansas, wherever you guys are relocating to.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah, so that was one take. Another one, it was your hot take of the year. Nine and on I think it's September 3rd or no. 9 July September, yeah. September 3rd before the season started. New England Patriots to win the AFC East. We talked about it a little bit. Bracco said wishful thinking maybe when JA17 retires. What do you have to say, Tim?
Ayo. Love it. Um, just slight victory walk. Very proud of this Pats team. It's been a incredible 1 year run for me, joining forces with this take. We'll move on to a new team next season, but maybe it'll become a tradition that if a take comes true, I will be obligated to buy a jersey of that team. So I think I'm gonna have to go and do that. But yeah, no, phenomenal season. In talking a lot about Vrabel. And as a big preface point, and he's the coach that they needed. I think true to
Mm-hmm.
point, he's been the difference maker. Alongside obviously Drake May, who's had a phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
season at quarterback, and then they've added a lot of great elements. So,
Yeah.
shout out Pats. Thank you for backing me up on that one.
Yep.
Great season.
Yeah. And then the last big one. A healthy CMC makes a difference. This was a take from March that a healthy CMC was going to take San Francisco to the promised land. And then Vash, the Stampede Dragon 9824 said, if is the biggest word you keep saying. If CMC plays at least 12 games, I will eat my shoes. Trusting a player who is basically injured almost every year is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Dot, 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 ever. Um,
Hey Vash, stop dragging this on and put some damn shoes on a plate and eat them.
yeah.
Eat them right up, dude. Yeah.
Uh,
Stitch the video. Stitch it. We're gonna clip this and I'll tag you.
yeah. Yeah. It's CMC played 12 games. If, I'm not trying to put any juju, but, 49ers could still take the number one seed. And, Vash probably never expected that, probably thought CMC was going to get hurt, thought Purdy was a bad signing. But we, you knew, I knew CMC plays. Well, he didn't have to play as awesome as he has been playing. Big difference of a
Hmm.
team, and we didn't even think that the defense was going to be this bad. because you could call them bad because they've lost so many of their key players on defense. So this, what, like I say, kudos to the 49ers because what they've done, like you say, Shanahan could be coach of the year because of what this team is to be where they're at. You gotta tip your hat off to them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, stayed healthy at certain points, been very unhealthy in other points, but yeah, is Vash has he any profile picture of a certain team? Might be a big
Uh,
Cardinals fan, kind of down
ha
here,
haven't
upset
seen it.
about things.
Yeah, haven't
Okay.
checked this profile, but
He's
yeah,
about to become team sneaker.
team sneaker. Yeah, you want him to eat a high top or just like a normal low top shoe?
Ooh.
Some Tims,
I
some
mean,
Timberlands.
CMC smashed 12 wins out of the park. He's
Uh,
well surpassed that. Yeah, might have to go high top.
high top.
Sucker. Like
Yeah.
an like an offensive lineman shoe.
Yeah. Size 15.
You're right.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
a feast.
No, that's crazy. But yeah, but those
Brutal.
were some of the comments, we wanted to go through some of them, some of the things we had to take back, some of them we were spot on with a lot of this, so those that kept on saying podcast equipment is too cheap, they got to make it more expensive. Like we're here giving you facts, giving you the banter. This is what banter on the takes is. Sometimes we are wrong, but I'll say from the way this year has gone for us, Tim, we've been right quite a bit, surprisingly.
Yeah. No, I mean that's what makes us unique, John, is
Yeah,
we can comedically put takes out there that are legit and way ahead of time. So
yeah,
that's what makes banter great. And yeah, no, love doing
yeah,
it. And yeah, no, it's been a phenomenal season and year altogether of takes, and we'll continue that segment forever and always.
yep,
Um, you know what, the podcast equipment joke, um, still send it to us. It gives us a laugh whenever we
yeah.
see it.
It does.
Um, but just make sure you're doing it at the same time to the people that did don't love your job your love.
Yeah,
Go ahead and send it to them at the same time.
yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that clip.
yeah,
I'll send it to you
yeah,
after.
yeah.
It's a good reference.
But yeah, but those are the takes. Like I say, yeah, we'll do it again next year, end of the year. We'll go through our yearly comments, feedback, uh, admit some of our wrongs, also brag about some of our rights. Because like I said, we're right a lot of the time. The way we have been this year. Next year could be a whole different story. It might be wrong on a lot of things, but till then, we're gonna roll with what we got this year. So kudos to
Yep.
us. Um, but yeah, that's the comments for the year. And then last little thing, sort of top 5 New Year's resolutions. So it's New Year's coming up this week, New Year's Eve on Wednesday, New Year's Day Thursday, and there's always New Year's resolutions. A lot of us make it, and I pulled up top 5. And we'll just sort of discuss it a little bit, a few facts I have about it. The first one, I think it's a typical one that everybody does, exercise more. So 25% of Americans say this as a New Year's resolution. And then around 43% of those that have it as a resolution drop off by the 31st. So they barely last a month. 43% don't make it past a month. And then less than 10% last 3 months or more. So it shows it's a tough one. I'll raise my hand. I am one that at times has done this and I struggle to do it. I don't, I think it's more of a will thing or I don't know if it's a will. It's just like a commitment, I think I put too much on top of it in an unrealistic goal for myself that I feel that eventually I can't achieve and I'm just like, I'm done with this. Move on and forget about it.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it's the unrealistic expectations. And yeah, I'm just like you. Like, you get to a point where it's like, oh, dude, I'm not gonna get there, and then not realize either, a small success that you've had with it,
Mhm.
and just kind of keep aiming for that end goal, versus like taking it month by month.
Mhm.
But it's tough to keep with. Like, it's so easy to give up on.
Yeah, it's a hard one, and I think depending on your lifestyle and family life too, because like I said, for me now, even with a kid, work life, like the few hours I get when I get home before he goes to bed, I want to hang out with him. Yeah, I could go work out,
Hmm.
leave him in a playpen, do his stuff, but I want to hang out with him. And then it's once he goes to sleep, you got stuff to do around the house. You got to clean, you're eating, doing work stuff. So, I always have work to do after work, and then it's getting close to midnight. And it's like, one of the things with, just being healthy is getting good sleep. So it's like, I got to try to go to bed at a decent time, not 2,
Hmm.
3 a.m. and waking up at 6. So, it just gets tough, I think, but it's something I will say I am committed to trying to do a little bit more this year. It's just exercise a little bit more, but I'm not going to have a high expectation of doing it X amount of time. It's just doing little by little, month by month.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Yeah, it's I'm like you know, with the kiddos, it's like spend time with them. Then at that point it's like wind down by, especially with this podcast, it's focusing on the podcast, putting a lot of time into it in the after
Hmm.
hours becomes, just that role at nighttime, and then, talking with a spouse, to our wives and, just kind
Hmm.
of rolling with the day like that. And then at that point it's like, dude, it's tired. So it's like exercise would be like a weekend thing. And then throughout the week, it's probably just focusing on eating better, dude.
Yeah.
Like I like just I'm a big fan of Ben and Jerry's. If it's chilling in there, like
You
it
got
doesn't
it.
last long. I
Yeah.
open up that freezer door and it's just like
Yeah.
it's there. And it's so easy for me just to polish off like a lot
Yeah.
of it. Too much. It's
Yeah.
too easy.
And we'll go into that New Year's resolution. That's another one that people have a lot. Eating healthier was number 3 on the list.
Mm.
And I think the goal with this, I think if you have it the right way, it could work because some people do it because they want to look better. They think eating better is going to make them look better. But I think the way you have to sort of focus on it is eating better is going to make you feel better. Because I've noticed
Hmm.
because I'm one that's sort of up a roller coaster of eating that I could do well for like 2 months, not eat out, eat healthy, just do a little bit better, also working out. And honestly, when I do that, I feel a lot better. I feel like I could do a lot more stuff. I still look the blob the way I do, but I feel better. And I think that's the goal
Hmm.
with eating healthier. It's just about feeling better, not really looking at the long term. Oh, am I getting a six pack? Oh, I'm getting a definition. It's like, yeah, it could be some of that, but it should be more about just feeling better in your body, being able to do things.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. I mean, same for me, man. Like, I wouldn't call it like binge eating, but it's like I get into these patterns where it's like, there's some weeks where I'm like, yeah, I'm stopped eating at 7 today. I can
Hmm.
last throughout the rest of the day and just drink water and call it a day. But like other times it's like, damn, I'm hungry. It's like 11:30. It's like, do I want to make a Taco Bell run or which I usually don't. And then I just like I'll scavenge the pantry and like if there's like a hidden camera in there, it would just be me like just looking like, around like
Yeah.
just an evil villain to all food.
That was me 2 days ago. It's like I had regular food in the fridge like that we made, but I'm like, I need something sweet. I'm like, I need that sugar, I need that kick, and I looked everywhere and I think I had like a piece of chocolate or something, but I was like, okay, this craved it a bit, but it's like I think that's what eating healthier does. It's gonna make you feel better and then also sort of avoid those sugar rushes. Because I think
Mhm.
one of the big things with eating better that I read and also just that I've learned about, as I'm working on my journey a bit more, is that it's not just about it's going to help with chronic disease and mental health. Like I say, healthy wise, when
Mhm.
as you get older, you need to be just a lot more healthier because these diseases creep up a lot more. Your body's not 18 anymore that you could fight everything so quickly. So it's a big thing. And then the other fact I sort of saw with this is by February, half the people that have this goal drop it. So they only last about 2 months, if that, with eating better. And it is a hard one. I think this one's almost like the exercise more. It's like you have to set small goals and also have realistic goals. You could try to do keto, a keto type diet, but keto diets are hard, you know. Doing a pescatarian diet, it's really hard. And it's also, I think, where you work. Like I work and I sometimes am out in the field all day, you know, so it's sort of like
Mhm.
all I could really eat is fast food. And it's like, okay, how do I sort of change that in my mindset? And sort of finding those small goals to help with the long term goal.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a great point of like, like I've even considered and oftentimes it is that way where it's like, 'cause especially with y young kids, you don't want like that a obscene amount of sugar in the household because, they'll constantly want it,
Mm-hmm.
as do I. And if it's not there, then it's like a problem you can't necessarily have because,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for it, but it's not going to be there, and then it just makes you walk away
Yeah.
in frustration for a bit. Eh, yeah, get a
But you
little
get over
angry.
it. Get
Uh,
over it a bit.
damn it, son of a. And then yeah, like at times I'll be like, at Costco, like you get way too much of everything.
Ah,
There's like these little coconut chocolate, dark chocolate things that we bought
uh-huh.
like a couple months ago, and they just kind of linger around in a basket. And if I like really need that sugar,
You
I'll
go
be
for
like,
it.
I think they're still good. And then I'll just eat one and I'll be like, kind of cured it. Take a bite and
Yeah.
I'll be like, it's dark chocolate, milk chocolate's better. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's good
Yeah.
enough.
You're like, I'm okay. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
eating healthier is
sad.
one of those resolutions.
It's
That's our
relatable
fatty self.
content right now.
It is for us with all
Yeah.
the food talk we had today.
Yep.
Next one, this is the number two one, being happy. So I think a lot of people are being happy is something they try to do a bit more. You know, there's a lot of anxiety, burnout, and just emotional
Hmm.
fatigue that are key drivers to happiness. You know, and it's I think it's a resolution that I think you have to do a lot. And you know, I think the one thing with happiness, because I will say I think I have been very happy. I don't think I have many bad days. Um,
Good.
but what I also focus on is I don't try to focus on long-term happiness. Try to focus on just what I could control in that moment and just being happy during that week. You know, I'm not going to think about
Mhm.
like, oh, to be happy, I need to do XYZ in like 3 months. Yeah, I want to reach those goals, but if I say that's the only way I'm going to be happy, I'm not going to be happy because most likely those goals are too hard to achieve. So it's sort of for me, it's focusing daily. It's just being happy, being in the moment, being in now because we're not promised tomorrow. We're anything could happen. We might not have that much time, so enjoy what we have now.
Absolutely. No, that's the perfect way to put it, John, is yeah, focusing on the day-to-day versus, the big picture, when it comes to things like happiness because, cherish, if you have little ones, cherish the age that they are right now because you're never going to see it again.
Hmm.
And those moments are precious. Every little moment that you can have, it can make all the difference in not just their lives, but your own.
Yeah.
And, just that focus altogether is a great way to put it. And then you have the less stress of thinking and planning about something so much in the future that you
Hmm.
can just focus on what's nearsighted. And,
Yeah.
and in one quick point to that is, I somewhere throughout this podcast, I wanted to let, just one thought come to mind is Anthony Joshua with what happened in that car accident
Hmm.
today. My prayers are with him.
Hmm.
It's a terrible accident and, he lost two close friends. And, it can happen just like that. So,
Hmm.
I hope he's okay, and I hope he recovers quickly. And most of all, thoughts are with him and his family and friends.
Hmm.
It's crazy. It makes you think
Yeah.
about stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
living every moment, and getting the most of it's important.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I always try to go to bed being happy, not try to go with negative because, like I say, something happens, you go to bed negative and you can't make it up later. It just sucks. So, being
There you
happy
go.
is number two. Number four, save more money. I think that's a big key. Even that's not
Mm, yep.
a New Year's resolution. I think a big driver of this is always cost of living, especially if you're in California, some of these expensive states. It's high. Inflation's a big one. And then just debt. You know, a
Hmm.
lot of us get into debt. A lot of us are blind trying to live life. And not having money saved decreases happiness because you're always stressed about money. So it sort of puts into that factor of being happy. It's like you got to sort of save some money because the debt sort of and thinking too much about money makes you unhappy.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you know somebody that might have more success financially than yourself, comparison can be the thief of joy because maybe they're lacking in a different area that you have, a better, idea on things or more happier with something, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Just live your own life. But yeah, no,
Right.
also, financial financial, I guess, security is, a big deal, especially now, like, especially after the
Yeah.
holidays, man,
Yeah.
like spend, spend, spend.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it is
Uh,
tough.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's worth it. But now's the time to kind of
Mhm.
refocus and recenter
Mhm.
on all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. Some notes that I found, nearly half of the adults say that they would struggle to cover 400 to 500 in emergency money without
Hmm.
borrowing that money or stressing about it. So that's already, a tough one because 400 to 500 should be an easy thing, but most people can't do that in an emergency. And then, some of the
Yeah.
reasons it fails is that people have unrealistic goals, no plan, or emotional spending. I will say for me, it's probably I always have a plan. My goals are realistic. I don't think I'm going to save $1 million anytime soon. I wish I could. If I could, that'd be amazing. But I think it's the emotional
Hmm.
spending, and it's just sort of sometimes, it's we enjoy it because, like I say, for me, it's sort of that living happy piece that sort of messes it up. It's like, I'm gonna enjoy it at times when there is something fun to do with the kiddo, or it's like, yeah, it's a little tough, but it's an experience and it's gonna bring that happiness to us. So we've done it.
Hmm. It's always good to have those rainy day funds.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is. Yeah, and then
Especially
one
with
of the,
kiddos.
yeah,
Chuck E. Cheese
especially
money.
Chuck E. Cheese money. It is. Well, now it's like sky high type stuff, going to the jumping places. That's more the
Oh
thing.
yes. Yeah. Yep. Yep. The kiddos are really into trampolines as well.
hmm
Yep. I
Yeah,
agree with you.
so yeah. And then the last one, people say reading more. That one, a lot of
Hmm.
people focus on. People say it helps with screen fatigue. I hope our listeners don't read more because I want you to watch us more. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Hmm.
No, if you want to read, go
Yeah.
for
Get
it.
our audio version.
Yeah. But, you know, people aren't reading more because they don't have the time or, you know, people are saying that they don't read because they don't have the time, but what they should be focusing on is sort of reading for that inner peace because like I said, these books are stories that movies, a majority of movies that are made are based off books. So you could read it, have that imagination in your head and then sort of judge it because I think Vera is really good at reading. And what she's done well is she reads books before they come out in theaters, and then she sort of compares the book to the theater. There's always some goods, always some bads, and I think it helps.
Hmm. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just one that really likes noise in the background. Like if I'm doing
Yeah.
something, I'll listen to a podcast, I'll throw on The Office in the background
Yeah.
and, or a new show, whatever, and it's good to have. But I will say there is a sense of serenity when you get locked into a book and you just kind of like lose train of thought of like where you're at and you're just solely focused on that. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Haven't had one of those moments in years. But yeah, no, it's good. And I constantly tell myself I should read more.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with me. And I think that was always the goal that was tough for me because, and I read this online, so it's not a fact that I'm giving you guys from the top of my head, but, I always set up like a goal of like, I need to read X amount of books. And what they say, it's like really not focused on how many books you're going to read, but just how much more reading you're going to do daily and weekly. So it's like, okay,
Mm,
daily I'm going to read 5 pages. Focus on that first and then move up a little bit, Start increasing it monthly, Okay, now it's 10 pages per day. Instead of like, oh, I need to finish 2 books every month, which, depending on the book, some of these books are big, and you have to enjoy the reading, because if not, it's going to feel like you're in schoolwork. You're going to feel like you're back in school reading for a test, and that's not going to make reading enjoyable.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. Find a way to read for pleasure more than
Hmm.
versus something that yeah, I starting with something that really interests you versus like getting a book that you feel like you'd have to do a book report on. That'd
Yeah.
be brutal.
It would be at
Wouldn't
this
enjoy
age
that.
when we're not in school anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
but yeah, but those were like five of the top New Year's resolutions that I found online. Like I say, I most likely will have all five of these for myself as well this year, again, because I
Hmm.
have them every year. Like I say, I think the one I've been the most successful with is being happy, uh, and at times saving money. I think I start well and bad. Uh, but I
Hmm.
think I just need to find a way to continue that throughout the year. Eating healthier, same thing. Just gotta find that little habit to help me get through it. Exercising more. I'm gonna focus on small things. I don't know if you've seen it. We're really in, but we both watch Barstool, but that Frank the Tank thing, it's really been inspiring me
Oh yeah.
recently. Where all he was doing is
Mhm.
just walking daily, and eating a little
Yep.
healthier. And that fool's lost so much weight, which I think is great for him because health wise, he's could live so much more longer because of it. But I'm like, it's just something
Yep.
as simple as that, as dedicating myself just to walk a certain amount of steps per day or a certain amount of miles per day, just to get out there in the fresh air, and also just to get my heart up and running and not letting it get dormant and killing me possibly, staying active.
Mhm. No, absolutely. I agree. I went to the doctor not too long ago and my blood pressure was a little high. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of typical for me, but it's something that, as I'm in my 30s now, it's like I shouldn't really rub it off the way that I used to in my 20s, for example.
Yeah.
But a big part of that is going back to things like eating well
Hmm.
and the right things, and that can help reduce stuff like that. So, it's something to focus on, and
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's important. Got to focus on it.
Yeah. It's
I try
important
to
to
stay
hope.
active though.
Yeah.
I let the kids jump on me and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's good.
It is. But yeah, but we'll have resolutions. Hopefully everybody has some resolutions. Make those goals. Don't give up. You guys got this. We all got this. We have the
Mhm.
will in us. It's just, need that support system. You guys need that support help. Reach out to us. We're here to support everybody. We enjoy everybody that listens to us, and just helping everybody, and just overall, that's what banter. We like to banter and talk smack, but we also like to support and help. So reach out if you guys have
Absolutely.
questions, how we could help you guys out, help each other out. Let's be a team.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you guys have any creative hacks that,
Yeah,
have set you
yeah.
guys up for success on these resolutions, let us know because we're all
Yeah.
game, we're all ears.
Yes.
Would love to hear it.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's today's and the last episode of 2025 for us. Thank you to everybody for listening to us today. Your support just keeps us going, keeps us motivated. And like I said, this is something I would say part of our resolution, makes us happy doing this every week. So as always, do us a
Mhm.
solid, hit that subscribe, follow button, so you guys can always get the alerts of all our new clips, full episodes. We are cutting down some of our segments if you're just wanting to listen to specific segments as well, so you can listen to that. And as always, jump into the comments. We might shout you out, good or bad, in our episodes with your comments. And if there's anything you guys want to talk to us about, let us know. But, we appreciate all the support.
Yep, absolutely. We're in the banter community. That's why we bring up our previous commenters, and we appreciate all those comments, regardless, good or bad. We love connecting with everybody, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch and listen to us.
Yes.
Have a great
Thank you, everybody.
2026 ahead.
Yeah. Have a great
Everybody's gonna have a great year.
2026. Yes. Yeah. And until next time and until next year, this is Banter on the Rocks.
Peace.